Yes, and welcome to the Trek Time Trek Show. We're here, all Trek, to talk Trek about you, people who like Trek. How's that for an intro? Can't really say it's the #1 premium exclusive Timelines talk show. I have to do something Trek, but work on it.
Don't worry, Idle. I'm here to keep you on track.
Keep you on track. Like it. See your energy. Love the energy. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're here to bring you the latest news in the world of Star Trek universe. And we are one down tonight, but Frank shall be popping in any moment now once he's finished his commute to come and have a chat with us as well. Shai could not be here this week, this week, because he is celebrating his jubilations for his birthday. So happy birthday, Shai.
Happy birthday, Shai!
Happy birthday, buddy. And you've had some very good news, which I won't disclose. I'll let him disclose his very good news, but it is very good news. But Frank shall be here shortly to fill his slot. And, well, Frank's going to be here a lot of the time because he's now one of our new regular hosts. So I'm looking forward to more.
When he can find time and he's not in Dilithian mines.
Yeah, exactly. When he's not sitting there building the new Riemann warship, behind the times, usurping the Federation, shouting at the depths. Right, here's what I was thinking the other day. I was getting really, really stupid in the car. I was thinking, I really want to go...
as opposed to being really stupid elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I was listening to the Nemesis soundtrack, as you do, on your usual commute. Instead of Radio 2, I was listening to the Nemesis soundtrack.
It's not an awful soundtrack, I suppose. It's not my choice. But,
it's Jerry Goldsmith, so it's okay.
Is it Goldsmith?
It's Jerry Goldsmith, yeah. And I was thinking... well, you go to a protest and people are holding up signs just saying no more of this or no more of that or down with that. I just want to go to a petition rally with a sign just saying bring back Senator Talora. What do we want? More wages. When do we want it? Bring back Senator Talora. And that was just running through my head the entire drive home, and I don't know why. I was giggling like an idiot.
Weirdo. You're an idiot. No. What you do is there's this wonderful meme people have been doing of like taking screenshots of the ringside at like WWE and the pay-per-views. And people are holding up signs like Final Fantasy VIII Remake when and stuff like that, or like Chrono Cross is the last true JRPG. And I'm just thinking like someone's sitting at the ringside while Triple H is doing his fucking thing, and then they just got a sign that says, "Why does a tall man have a furry face?"
Yes. Just out of context Star Trek quotes in the randomest places. I do need to stop diverting the exhaust fumes into my car. Thank you, Walt. I have these moments. I remember driving home from work, and for some reason I was listening to Radio 4, and the Archers theme song came on, and it just made me giggle. I don't know why. Sometimes things do. It gets a bit weird in the car when you're all on your own on your own for 40 minutes. It can be.
The nitrous oxide is meant to go backwards, like from the.
That's right. Are we allowed to talk about Picard season 3? I'm gonna say no, because we're gonna keep this a spoiler-free safe zone. One, because Stars has not watched it yet, and I very much appreciate that all of you, probably a lot of you, haven't watched it yet. We will be having because Strange New Worlds, we did a week-by-week thing. I think because this is serialized, we're gonna do a big season 3 roundup at the end of the season. I think we'll get our heads together and say what we liked and what we didn't like about the show, about the season, and talk about it as a whole. Because I think week by week, plenty of Star Trek podcasts do that, and that's fine. I don't really want to sort of get involved in that cluster of different shows to be another opinion. So we'll do it as a whole. And I feel like week to week is very much you're just talking speculation, like what could happen here and what could happen there, and I'm a bit like. So yeah, we'll do a big roundup at some point of the whole season.
You know what you should do?
Go on.
You shouldn't give us any spoilers, but instead you should just like go Picard, watch, and then give a big. Oh
right, yeah. You say all right
on
okay.
that because
Picard,
guess what? I'm guessing.
Watch.
Yeah, exactly. Because I wanted to debate like if you'd done that season 2, it would have been episode 1.
Yeah.
Episode 2. The rest of the season.
Yeah. Well, so far, I've done again no spoilers, and for podcast listeners, episode 1, thumbs up. Episode 2, thumbs up. So. Track for season 2 so far.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. I've been. Walt can pin things in the chat. I didn't know you could pin things in the chat.
Oh, he's a moderator. Of course he can.
I know he can, but I didn't know it was doable entirely. That's weird. Well done for finding something new. Anyway. So, as I've said on our Discord, if you haven't joined our Discord, please go and join that. We will be having our annual charity show on April 23rd. Going to be an absolutely fantastic evening entertainment. We'll be running from 5 o'clock UK time in the afternoon, which is 12 o'clock Pacific. No, it's 12 o'clock Eastern, something else Pacific, like 9 o'clock Pacific.
Don't try and do time zones, man. They're all made up garbage.
I've got it written down somewhere. But anyway, 5 o'clock UK time. So it'll be running for about 8-9 hours. We've got an absolutely jam-packed lineup of some really cool stuff. I'm really excited about this year. I will be revealing more about some of our special guests we'll be having this year, of which there are some from the Trek world, which I am very excited to tell you about. But I just need to get a few I's dotted, a few more T's crossed, and get a few more specifics sorted. But we're 90% of the way there.
Yeah. And for those of you who are curious, the tabletop Star Trek Adventures segment will be returning. I don't think it will be Captain Proton this year, just because it'll be hard to follow up. But I was talking with Lyle about a few ideas I have just before this, and I think you will be pleasantly surprised with what I have in mind.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good fun. We've got giveaways. We've got some giveaways. I've been talking to the Star Trek Online people as well, so we'll have some more Star Trek Online giveaway codes to give out as well. Special guests. We are still choosing our charity, which you can participate in as well. It'll be running for a couple more weeks. If you go to our announcements channel on the Discord, there are 5 charities to choose from, and it's pretty equal cut between the lot. So if you want your vote to count, please go and help us choose. You've got a choice between the Rainforest Foundation, the Elton John's AIDS Foundation, the International Rescue Committee, the Trevor Project, and St Baldrick's Foundation. So please, if you're interested, and you can vote for multiple ones, not just saying, oh, you only need to vote for one. Vote if you want them all through, just vote for them all. If you only specifically want one, then just choose one. But come and vote and help us decide which charity we're going to be supporting this year, and we will pick the winner.
They're all very worthy causes.
They are. So. It is. I can appreciate some people have just gone like, oh, it's a very tough choice. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry about that. It is.
Guess what? That's the way it is with charities. But it's like we want to make sure that we are representing the community in our choice, so you get a say.
Absolutely. So,
and then we'll ignore your decision and pick our own one.
Yeah, we'll just go back to Mind last year, but no. Please come and help us choose that. It's going to be a great show, April 23rd. Come and join us. We'll have more details coming out as they come in, and I'll get a whole roster of things that are going on. But it's going to be absolutely action-packed. It's going to be very fun, and it's going to be, we'll have What the Dub as well. What the Dub, there's going to be a section for that near the end. So,
is it going to be Star Trek What the Dub or normal What the Dub?
It will be Star Trek What the Dub, of course. It's a Star Trek show. And I'm going to have some new clips. I've got some new clips I've been making to put in there as well. I was working from the Search for Spock, so it's going to be very fun. Also, if you've not seen, we've had another release of the Star Trek on our YouTube, where we covered Parallax from Voyager. No, did we do that one recently? I'm out of my schedule. No, maybe
that was the last one we did.
That was the last one. I think the latest one was. I need to check YouTube now because I schedule them weeks ahead, so I don't know which one has been come out really recently.
Would it have been the DS9 episode?
It might have been past prologue. Let me have a quick look. Check our channel at youtube.com/@TrekTime. The latest one that was released was past prologue. Yes, past prologue came out about a week ago. We got Parallax, which is coming out on the 6th. That's the next one that's coming out. So keep an eye out for that. You can check those on the YouTube as well, and all our other wonderful content. Right, shill mode out. Boom. We're done. Let's talk about Picard Season 3. But again, safe space. There are no spoilers here. This is a spoiler-free zone. I'm not going to ruin your day, especially with the new episode tomorrow, which I'm very keen on being spoiler-free for. So I tend to ignore ignore the internet until I've watched it, because it's very easy to go on Twitter and see spoilers. Very, very hard to do.
Oh, dude, like the instant that Strangely What was episode 10 dropped, I literally went onto YouTube at work to put on some music, and because the algorithm knows it's me, it immediately flashed up. Oh, here's James Cook in Strangely What. Thanks. Now, granted, I would have been spoiled by the opening credits anyway.
Yeah, but
still. Thanks. The algorithm will find you, it will spoil you, it will ruin your day.
It absolutely will. So, just a couple of things, because there's bit of confusion. Again, this is not spoilers, this is just purely timeline things, and nothing happens in the episode. One of the things that people have got confused about was, when does this episode actually occur? When does season 3 of Picard actually start? Because it confused me. I went on Memory Alpha because I like to keep a little timeline document of when things happen, and Paramount was saying, Memory Alpha was saying, oh, this is in 2411, which is about 10 years after season 2, and I'm like,
yeah, I was going to say
that, right,
because Season 1 was $23.99. Season 2 was $2,400. So yeah, it'd be like fucking 10, 11 years later.
Exactly, which it can't be right. I think a lot of people question that. I think part of the confusion was they were celebrating the thing that Riker mentions again. This isn't a spoiler. This is just throwaway facts. He mentions they're doing a speech for Frontier Day. I think people were getting confused with First Contact Day or something else. It says the launch of Starfleet, and they said it was 250 years previous. Where it's Frontier Day. Was the day when the original NX-01 Enterprise was launched in 2151.
151.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
okay,
that would place the show in 2401. So for those like me who are really anal about when things happen,
I see. They would have heard Frontier Day and would have assumed that it would be dated from the foundation of the Coalition of Planets rather than from the launch date of the NX-01.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
So
that makes sense.
A little bit confused on that one. So but yeah, that's when it takes place. So people thinking, wow, he looks good for like having 10 years extra since the end, and wow, a lot's happened.
Well, he's a robot now, it's fine.
Exactly. So yeah, just a little clarification. If you watch it and you go like, when is all this? It's literally right after season 2. There's not much of a gap there, despite everything that happens. If you are interested and you don't want to pay for Paramount Plus, just pirate it. No, I didn't say that. The first episode, the first episode is actually available for free in the US on YouTube. On the I think on Paramount's channel. I think it might be free on Paramount.
They've been doing that a lot
well.
recently. They did the same thing with Strange New Worlds, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So you can go and free that, get a free, watch the first episode for free. Struggling to talk tonight. I had a lot of technical difficulties before the show, and it's really put me off my stride. So you can go watch that for free.
Yeah, Idol.
Yeah, go on.
You're looking very handsome and wonderful and technically minded today.
Ah, see, this is why I bring you here. Just put me in my ease. What do you want?
For you to calm the fuck down.
Oh, right, okay. It's like my children. Daddy, you know how much I like you? What?
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay.
It's like, what? I was like, I want a bag of Maltesers. Like, all right, you little shit.
Have you eaten your dinner? Only if you've had all your vegetables. Have you had your Ractagino and your green stew? No, okay. So yes, you can go view that on YouTube.
No, it'd be Leola root. It'd be Leola root stew.
Drink your Ractagino, boy. Free Senator
coffee for children.
If you want a free month of Paramount Plus, because you know you do, and it's a good time to do it. Well, actually, a good time to do a free month of Paramount Plus is probably in about 4 weeks' time when Picard season 3 is finished, and you can just binge watch it. But you can use the promo code Picard, all in capital letters, and I think that is US only as well, because fuck us in the UK.
Guess what? The world revolves around the United States, unfortunately, especially when it comes to Star Trek. Yeah. So yeah, all those wonderful Picard things. I'm enjoying the season. I think it's gonna be quite good. Or you could use it, as Walt says in chat, you can use a VPN from another area, but that's not legal either, or sometimes possible. It just depends where you are. If you are doing this from China, good luck. But it's a free month only if you haven't subscribed before. But yeah, but you can just create a new account. You just make a new email, a new account, and you can just you just lie.
Exactly.
Well, they can't check that.
Exactly. Just lie. Just make new account. I think I've done that for a few things.
Someone would go on the internet and tell untruths.
Hey, yeah. Stars, do you remember Steam packs for the Star Trek timelines where you had to
I remember that.
You had to make like about 50 emails.
You know what? I had to say it. I bet you that fucking killed that game.
Absolutely. Yeah, weird that.
Direct one-to-one correlation. Guess what? That's a lot of money they didn't end up getting.
I can't wait till we do the show and we're like, wow, Star Trek Timelines. Remember that game? It died.
In memoriam. And we're done.
Yeah, we're done, yeah. Watch our other show for that bollocks. Launch our careers. Okay. Let's get into some hot, spicy rumors. Less truth. Let's get into some rumors. So there is a nice little rumor going around that season 3 of Strange New Worlds will be filming this year. This has come out pretty recently.
That's quick. That's quick off the gate.
Very much so. But there, I mean, season 2 was filming before season 1 had come out.
That's true.
So that, we'd already had the news that, I forgot his name. No, he plays Captain Kirk, was going to be in it, which kind of made everyone go, "Oh, why?"
Paul Wesley.
Paul Wesley, that's the one. Yes. So yeah, season 3 is already filming, and I think that's. If you're like me and I'm just hooked on Twitter at the moment, just watching various Star Trek feeds. There is actually Star Trek: The Cruise happening right now with loads of people from Star Trek, the cast and crew on there, hanging out with people who were paid their many thousands of dollars to go on a cruise and hang out with them. Which, to be fair, I am also slightly jealous. But yeah, you look on there, it's like, there's no Strange New Worlds people. There's no Anson Mount, you know, there's no Christina Chong. There's none of these faces like, oh, maybe they might be filming.
Well, it's that thing where, especially with because I remember one of the reasons everyone was so worried that the much anticipated Pike spin-off wouldn't happen was because Anson Mount had said, "Yeah, I'm interested in doing it, but I don't want to be away from my like wife and kid for too long," which is absolutely valid. Guess what? He just recently had a child with his lovely wife, and it's like, fucking TV is so hard on people. It's not as hard as it used to be, thankfully, because you're not doing 26-episode seasons. That's the whole big reason why, is that was just destroying people, and it was not good for your health to do that. And like the amount of disruption to your family life. But the fact that they're doing like 10-episode blocks, and if they can do them at a time that's more convenient and just like, you know, especially closer together, so that like all the production staff don't have to come and leave and then go in one of the shows, you can get everyone just running like a well-oiled machine. It does make a degree of sense.
Yeah, I think that's
especially with how long the VFX turnover is. Like, you know, getting the post-production is the biggest thing, really.
Really got to buff the nacelles on the Enterprise on that one. Oh, Walt just let me know it's Anson Mount's birthday too. Happy birthday, Anson. Oh, 50 years old. Happy birthday,
Anson Mount.
50.
Oh, wow. Bloody hell.
That sounds right. I think that might be right. Oh, it's not today, apparently. Oh, well, still happy birthday anyway. By the time he hears this. He will be 50.
Yeah, by the time he definitely hears this.
Like, man can live in hope. I think, I don't know, does he look? I don't think he looks 50. I don't know what 50 looks like now.
If he's 50, it's an incredibly young 50.
Yeah,
like,
that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Doesn't have the bearing of a 50-year-old.
No, this was weird. I mean, I'm going to be, like, in a year and a half, I'm going to be 40, and that doesn't sound right either. 25th of February. Oh, well, there we go.
He is, in fact, 50 years old. His birthday was on February 25th.
Wow. Happy birthday,
Some men have all the luck.
They really do, and all the hair. Have you seen... actually, no, we'll talk about this now. Let's go out. The Strange New Worlds Season 1 Blu-ray is coming out on March 21st, if you are interested in that. I know a lot of people are keen on physical. And then the 4K Blu-ray is out on May 16th. There's quite a humorous section in there where they've actually got an extras in there, and they've called it Pike's Peak, talking about the hair and makeup and the production values of Strange New Worlds, and I'm just like, yeah, they know. they know the joke.
They absolutely know. I have to admit, I do absolutely love that they are still doing physical release, because guess you know who doesn't? Fucking Disney.
Yeah.
Like, do you want a fucking physical release of The Mandalorian? You ain't getting it.
Nah, it's mad.
You want a 4K version of, you know, Book of Boba Fett? I don't know why you would, but if you did. No. You want a DVD copy of Andor? No, you can't get that. I really do appreciate that, even though this is a streaming service first, you know, project, they are still releasing it on physical media, which feels rarer and rarer these days, especially. And guess what? After having watched the whole furore of HBO Max and the bleeding of content from Netflix, guess what? I'm glad that physical media exists, so that if you want to watch, it'll never happen, because Star Trek is like perpetually, you know, it's safe in memoriam forever. But you see all these shows that are like, you know, you can't even get a physical release of them, and they've been taken off of the streaming service that created them. Yeah. They created them in the first place. They don't even have to wear a license. It's like, well, how the fuck do I watch it? Oh, I guess I have to pirate it. There's literally no other option.
Yeah. There is like, or you find someone that's put it on YouTube, and because it's so old that like no one cares about it anymore. Like even the people are going after it. But
and having extras also is another big thing. It's like, you know, how often do you just buy a Blu-ray release and there's nothing on there but the actual show? Maybe a blooper reel. That's about it most of the time. But having actual featurettes and like commentaries, I'd really like to hear some commentaries for streaming.
Yeah, that's the thing I kind of miss as well.
Crew give some stuff. Yeah,
kind of miss.
They recently did a release of Glass Onion's director's commentary with Ryan Johnson. I really want to give that a listen, actually, because that's one of those movies I'd really like to hear his thoughts about.
No, definitely. I mean, there's the infamous, you know, Jonathan Frakes, Marina Sirtis commentary on Star Trek.
Oh, dude, I love that commentary. It's so
I don't know
good.
If that's on the digital version, if you can get that as one of the extra audio tracks. No. But
I remember I had to bring my copy with me to Germany so that Otto and I and his friend could all watch it, and that he had never heard it, and getting to hear that commentary for the first time is a trip, because Marina Sirtis is not quite how you anticipate.
No, I can
if you only exposure to her is Deanna Troi.
Yeah, there's lots of things, lots of, like, you know, I bought the Lord of the Rings big bulk box set with just its infinite amount of special extras, and that's great to watch. Like, it's good to do at the production, and I think like it's a hybrid now. Like, you can find a lot. They release a lot of that stuff on YouTube now. I know that I've got a Plex server, and if I play for Plex Pass, which gets me DVD extras on my digital files, and I think it scrapes that from various places like YouTube and all other places, so you find it, but it's not quite the complete kind of thing, you know. And it's and Walt says the commentaries on the Lord of the Rings films are awesome. You get one with the actors that play Merry and Pippin, which is that's such a good commentary as well, because they go past the point where they've got the storehouse when they've invaded when the Ents have invaded, I've forgotten the name of it now. Isengard. And they look at this storehouse and they just goes, you know what that's full of? Weed! And that's really good.
But it's also a case of, like, part of the reason I love my James Bond Blu-ray box set is, do you know that Roger Moore did a commentary for every single one of his Bond movies?
Oh, really?
All 7 of them. Good. And it's like, it's very, like, cozy, because it's just like I think he was 60 or 70 years old by the time he got around to recording. They were relatively new by the time it was released. And it's just kind of cozy listening to him talk about it and having all these showbiz and like stories. Like, it's just such a relaxing thing. And you get so much trivia out of those that you otherwise have to scrape through Wikipedia or like try and find a filming of a con. And it's like having it just in one place on an actual cool release is underrated nowadays.
I think there's got to be a way forward for it, and I think a lot of it's, a lot of the streaming service problems are rights issues. But I'm a big proponent of trying not to buy too much. I mean, I sold all my DVD collection years ago, but like a proponent of like I'm trying to cut down on like plastic and things I buy, or things that I know that I'm not going to keep forever. So I don't just like go to the bargain bin and go, I'll watch this to get this DVD and watch it anymore. I'll find other ways to watch it. But I think there's got to be a hybrid way of kind of doing that, like where you can stream it, but you do keep to get all the extras, and there's also you're not going to lose it. There needs to be like a contract law that somewhere that says that you cannot take this off. I don't know.
But part of the problem is that like streaming is still relatively in its infancy. Like, actually, if you think about when DVDs first came out, it took a good few years for them to come up with the fun little Easter eggs that you can find on the menus and like all this kind of stuff. Where it used to be just like you get 2 featurettes and a trailer, and it's like, well, I don't want to watch the fucking trailer for the movie I can just watch. It took a little while for DVDs to start having jam-packed releases where it was a big selling point that you would be able to get all the behind-the-scenes stuff. So streaming services maybe need a little bit more time, not just to realize people still want those extras, but also I think a few streaming services need to die. I think we have entirely too many of them, and they have fractured a lot of the viewing base that you want to watch. A lot of them are gutting themselves because they can't afford it because they overreach, like HBO Max. And it's like, once they've sorted themselves out and it's gotten down to like the 2 or the 3 that will actually stick around and they're all selling their licenses to each other, that is the point at which we'll start seeing a increase in quality of life and more bonus features, I feel like. But maybe that's just me being hopeful. Yeah, most people just aren't interested in that stuff. I don't know. I feel like, especially in the era of the video essayist, I think there is a massive market still for behind-the-scenes stuff. It's just, just not something you talk about too often. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not something you talk about a lot, but I feel like every time you want to talk about a movie, the majority of your information is going to come from that kind of stuff. It's like, no one's going to talk about the director's framing unless it is the director himself telling you in a commentary.
Yeah. That's interesting. Sorry, I had to just pop up and my wife left a cup of tea at the top of the stairs, and I now have a cat as well. She's heard me move. She's like, "You're about." Sorry, obligatory cat watch. Cat meow.
Cat watch.
This is
bad.
His soft kitty. What was it? The data line. Oh no, I've got to say.
Tell him he is a good kitty.
Tell him,
and a handsome kitty.
Do I have that on here
I will feed him.
Yes, I will feed him. I'm sure I had that as a trigger somewhere. I can't find it. Here it is. Here it is. I found it.
Tell him he is a pretty cat.
There it is.
And a good cat.
There's a lovely Worf's reaction on that. How psyched are you to see Worf in season 3 of Picard stars?
I'm very excited, to be fair. Like, he is a silver fox. He has not lost a step. Michael Dorn still sounds as amazing as ever. I also love how all I've seen of season 3, and I say "seen" in quotes, is a Twitter post of people complaining about Worf apparently being a pacifist from the trailers, and then like fucking complaints about why is Worf so violent, and I'm like,
he's a Klingon.
Well, not only that, but Worf intrinsically is a very violent man. He beats people up, he murders people, he commits war crimes. Like, he will kill people quite happily. It's in his blood.
Yeah, people aren't happy on the internet. I think there's been a lot of like Dave Blass and Terry Matalath. They're quite active on Twitter. They've been moaning at sort of various members of the community. I'm just like, just ignore them, dude. People will moan about anything.
Don't feed them. Yeah, they will literally find anything to put picnics at.
Picard's too old. Picard's not old enough. Picard's voice sounds different. He's like 90. Come on.
Yeah, no. I don't. You literally signed on for this. You wanted to see the character. You're seeing the character.
We are literally watching that Simpsons skit. So very tired. It's literally that.
So very tired. Yeah.
Worf used Duras as a pincushion. He really did.
Yeah, no, he fucking sliced that dude up in front of his commanding officer. Like, you want to try and tell me he was decent and wasn't too violent then?
No. Well, nearly cost him a command. Hey, no. Cole says, "Come now, Mr. Worf."
Oh no, that was the one
Klingon.
where he didn't kill someone.
I know. Don't tell me you object to a little genocide in the name of self-defense. Is that Q line? Isn't it? Is that Q line? It's a little genocide in the name of self-defense.
No, that's a Garrick line.
That is
actually.
Garrick.
Yeah,
Yes.
Isn't
that where he's
when
got
he
him
wants
in
to
the,
blow up the Founder's
Defiant?
link?
Yes.
Yeah, he's trying to access the torpedo bays.
That was it. Yes, I forgot about
Fake fan.
Well, I nearly there. I'm semi-fake fan.
Yeah, no,
Half
and
a
then like
fake fan.
Garrick punches him, and Worf gives him this look like, really? You thought that was gonna pass?
All right. I keep trying to spin it out, waiting for Frank to come out, but he'll be here. I'm late, Savage. You're never late. You're always when you're expected. You arrive exactly.
You always arrive exactly on time.
I can never do quotes. It is my weakness. Like, I know the quote in my head. I know how it's supposed to come out, but I can never remember the lines. I'm terrible at that.
Don't wait for the translation. Answer me
now. Yes.
There you go. See that one, you know.
I know that one only because I've said it about 1,000,000 times. Okay, so how about a bit of worrying news? So the world, everything's got more expensive. Everything's got a bit mad at the moment with inflation and everything and war and blah 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 blah. Everyone's having cuts, everyone's having layoffs and things like that, and there's a little bit of worry with Paramount as they're looking to make some cuts for 2023 2024, various things basically across the whole company, as everyone is. Every company's, like Disney has recently come out and, you know, Marvel said, look, we're going to do less TV streaming stuff, and maybe we might pay our VFX people a bit more. Who knows? Maybe we'll hire some more people. So it's all come around. Paramount have expressed something very similar. And a lot of people are worrying that, oh no, maybe this will hit Trek a little bit. But I'd like to sort of give a little reassuring bit of news, reassuring comment here, in that Star Trek is all Paramount have, really. Yeah. Apart from that, and I think you said to me earlier, Yellowstone is something which I've not watched that. But
yeah, they've got a good selection of dramas. They've got Yellowstone. They've got Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone. I think there's 1923. I think, which is a series with Harrison Ford. Like, they have a selection of things, but it's not. Guess what? Star Trek is still the flagship. It is still what they fly the flag from. Which is ironic, considering in fact that one of the few things they produced, they had a big fan base. Our Flag Means Death was also worried about being cut. But guess what? They threw 5 series at Star Trek. Not 5 individual seasons of a show. 5 different series. Like, they've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've done 11 seasons of Star Trek since 2017. Do you really think they're going to stop now?
It's pretty good, considering 5 of those are Discovery as well, and we've started to open up. I think a lot of people are seeing, like, right, we're now opening up into all these crossovers and spin-off, and they're like, we're now hooked. We've got the right level of Trek saturation. We've got a little bit for everyone. I don't want that to end. I want this to keep going and having more Star Trek. But I can't say I'm too worried about anything. Like,
no, me neither.
I don't think these are the most expensive shows to produce, especially things like Lower Decks and Prodigy. I think those would, they're cheap enough to produce. They're animated. They don't require any on-set filming. They can be done relatively quickly, or at least on a different kind of time frame, and not sort of like adherence to the same kind of structure, and they can be
you can record your voice lines like months before your VFX is even beginning to be done.
Exactly. So I'd say, I think we're going to see a lot of Lower Decks. Prodigy will be there as long as the people are watching it. If everyone still loves Prodigy, and they're already talking. Season 2 is starting this year. That has been confirmed. Season 3 is,
and it's also good for
talked
them
about.
Because guess what? You want to get the kids in. You want to get the kids in early.
You want to start the next generation. One might say.
Yeah.
No. Okay. But let's go on.
Rev DeMar is curious how we would rank all of the new Trek seasons.
That's a big question. Maybe we'll do that when Frank gets here. We'll get there. We'll have a chat about
that.
Yeah.
I will write up. I'm going to get a little notepad together, and I'm just going to write all these down while
you do that while I talk about the individual shows. So, Strange New Worlds is. We spoke about the rumor that season 3 is already will be filming in May this year. I think it's no brainer we're going to get season 3 of Strange New Worlds. Season 2 is kicking off some point soon. I wish they would commit to a few more dates. I wish we go like, right, Picard season 2's over, and then now we're going to get Strange New Worlds there. It'd be nice, or maybe another trailer.
It was really cool when they did the year of Star Trek, where it was like every single week there was a new episode of something because they had lined up all the production dates. But guess what? That is fucking hard.
Yeah.
That is hard to get all 5 of your ducks in a row and quacking in sequence. That is hard to do.
Ducks are like.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, no, I think season 3 is happening. No question. I think they'll definitely profit.
I'd be stunned if it wasn't. Yeah,
it's won awards. It has been nominated for 2 Critics' Choice Super Awards this year. Anson Mount has received has received nomination for award just based on his performance as Pike in one season. Like that's if that doesn't show that this show is they could cancel everything else and say we've still got Strange New Worlds. I think we're definitely gonna lock in for a Strange New Worlds season 3. This is kind of the future that they're going to bet on. Same with Lower Decks. Absolutely is going to be happening.
Beloved,
without a doubt. Now, Discovery's going to be the interesting question because Discovery's great. I love Discovery. A lot of people do. And season 5 absolutely is happening. We know that it's filming, or it's filmed. I think we're doing VFX, I believe, after. If the production history is right, after Strange New World season 2, we'll get Discovery season 5, possibly.
I'm fairly certain that we're looking at either Strange New World season 2 or Discovery season 5, and they're probably going to release really close to each other because they seem to have been developed relatively in tandem.
Yeah. So I think definitely whether we get Discovery season 6 is the big question. I would like to. I'd like them to do the 7 seasons. It'd be nice. But I think if they're starting to tighten the belts, I could see them doing season 5. Maybe season 6 as a wrap-up, possibly. There has been talk of the Star Trek Academy spin-off coming from Discovery. I think that was much hinted at in season 4 with Tilly going off to do Academy work.
You could very easily do a sequel series and actually keep on with the thing, because guess what, Sonequa Martin Green, expensive. Doug Jones, I imagine, expensive. No, Doug Jones maybe less so, but still much beloved. Anthony Stamett, Anthony Rapp, Wilson Green. They are not the creme de la creme. I love them all individually, and they are my own children, but they are not the creme de la creme. But that said, they are in demand, and like you've mentioned before, it is a lot of time to devote to a single season when you could be making one appearance in one episode on an Academy spin-off as an instructor, and continuing the characters there, which I would actually really like. I think that'd be a really good avenue for continuing things if they were going to tighten things up, and it would also be way cheaper to make an Academy show than it would be to keep a Discovery going, because Discovery is very much about the the breadth and depth and width and the mycelial realm, and you go everywhere in Discovery. Whereas Academy, you can actually build a standing set that isn't just a bridge. You can be this is the campus, and we are filming 90% here.
Yeah, and I have wondered, sort of talking about Sonequa Martin Green, whether she might if she does start putting the price up and they're starting to cut budgets, they might say, right, season 6 is happening, but she might say, right, end of the contract, I'm moving on, going somewhere else, maybe. I think Doug Jones is a bit invested now. He's got a regular gig, which we know Doug Jones loves a regular gig in makeup.
True.
I could definitely see them bringing up possibly a new captain, new character, or put Doug Jones in the prime line. Oh, watch out!
Okay, we can start the show now, gentlemen. Let's begin.
You're not eating crisps. What's going on?
No. I'm just off work, and I only saw 2 people on this marvelous stream. I thought, let's make it a threesome.
Frank is somewhere.
Just to let you know, Otto, we are live.
Oh, are we?
We're live.
Pants stay on.
No, the pants come off. Pants come off when we're live.
That's very true.
Sorry, what were we talking about?
What were we talking about? We were talking about Paramount cutting money from anything, and we were discussing which shows are more likely to stay than go, but I think we're pretty much safe for all of them. It's like saying Strange New Worlds, in for a lock. Lower Decks, Prodigy, in for a lock. Discovery's possibly the interesting ones, which might sort of maybe see an end after season 6, or may see other characters go along. How about, do you think with Michelle Yeoh getting all the awards under the sun, as she rightfully deserves, do you think that we will ever see Section 31, considering she more likely will cost £24 million or dollars for a season?
Here's the thing. Michelle Yeoh strikes me as the kind of person who will happily take a pay cut if it's going to be fun. Like, I've always gotten that vibe off her, that she likes projects that are fun. And she is, guess what? You can tell she's having fun. Every time, like, fucking Emperor Giorgio is on screen, she is having the time of her goddamn life. If I could get paid, whatever the going rate is for a lead actress on a sci-fi show, just to come on and be evilly bisexual and wear leather and flirt with people half my age and kick people through like glass windows, I'd fucking do that for a pay cut. Come on,
guy, you do that every Wednesday minus the windows. Like, that's why you're on the show, right?
How old do you start?
Half my age.
20 something?
Yeah, no, we don't.
Okay,
29.
It's the leather and it's the rest of it. That's what I mean.
Yeah, there you go.
Look, we all love Michelle Yeoh, but yeah, I think they could pony up the cash to get her if they wanted to.
Yeah. I think they could come to an understanding on that. Like, and it's also a case of, guess what? I fucking love Michelle Yeoh, and she deserved that recognition. That does not always translate immediately into marketability.
Yeah.
It's a case of like she is still. It's still a case of she is not a white male leading actor like Chris Pratt or whatever, who is a guaranteed pull. People who know, and they will go and see something for Michelle Yeoh. But it's she's not leading Jurassic Park yet. I think that's like going to be paying into that.
She's no Mario. Let's put it that way.
Well, yes, that is the actual thing, isn't it? It's like she. Guess what? She is not a mediocre white man, and therefore she cannot be propelled into superstardom and voicing everything and being in movies with Jennifer Lawrence like one Chris Pratt.
Give it time, and she will be Mario.
I would be fine with that.
I'm here to destabilize the show anyway. We get these random voice actors doing parts that they have no business doing. What Trek alum would you want doing voiceover work for whatever characters we can think of?
Can I think of the worst possible?
We already have Mark Hamill with the massive leg up for the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
So who can we have besides Patrick Stewart? Who's done his fair share?
Oh well,
Michael Dorn's done a shit ton.
Yeah, he's done loads. He was someone back in the 90s. I forget what it was now. It was back in the 90s cartoon, like some random kind of like
Nickelodeon. Weasel.
Sorry?
I Am Weasel.
Yeah, I Am Weasel. That's the one. Completely threw me off.
I Am Weasel.
Yeah, which like you listen to it and you kind of go like, oh yeah, that's some strange character, and they go, that's Michael Dorn? What the
Yeah. Well, he also voices Marcus the Super Mutant in Fallout 2 and in New Vegas. Like, he'll do anything. He's
in Mass Effect as
Gargoyles.
Well. Yeah. If we can get more Clint Howard voiceovers, maybe as Mario, that would be great.
Armin Shimmerman has also done a good amount of
that's true.
voice work. He was Andrew Ryan in Bioshock, for example. Yeah. He's great in that.
Ran Aaron says everyone was on Gargoyles.
Yeah, which he said in a recent interview he was very proud of that because no one recognized him as Armin Shimmerman.
Well, yeah, because he's not doing the teeth. He didn't do it with his cork teeth in, obviously.
Yeah.
What else? Oh yeah, Rene Auberjonois, like God rest his soul, played Mr. House in Fallout New Vegas as well. There's a lot of people in Fallout. They're big nerds over there.
Absolutely.
In terms of people who haven't done a lot of voice work, who I would like to, I'm trying to think. You know what? Fucking get Tandy Newsom. I love her voice. Like she has just so much energy to her. Like get her fucking doing all the voices.
Michelle Forbes did. In Half-Life 2, and I guess the episodes.
Yes, she was.
And it was going to be a pivotal character, I believe, in Half-Life 3, which never came out. Yeah. So that's one more reason to hate Valve for not releasing that game.
She was Dr. Breen's assistant, wasn't she? Was it Dr. Breen's assistant, or was it? Yeah.
Yeah, I forget.
I had no idea that was Michelle
Yeoh. That was Michelle, yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I'm trying to think who
No,
else.
not Visitors on Family Guy. I didn't know that. They did a whole Star Trek episode,
They
and I
did,
think they
yeah.
got pretty much everyone originally, which was
Well, yeah, no, I know they
fun.
got Patrick Stewart for the head of the CIA in American Dad, which is hilarious. I don't know if he's still doing that. That was a long time ago.
Maybe.
He started
I don't
doing
know.
that. That was like 10 years ago.
I've not watched American Dad in about 10 years, but what about
Apparently, he's still kind of good.
Wallace Shawn as Mario? I'm stuck on Mario. I
He's
can't
like,
think of anything else now.
He's like 95, dude.
Is he? He's still acting,
He's
right?
Yeah, perfect for voice acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I mean, Grand Negazek looked like he was 125 every time he was on camera. So
I mean, that might be affecting my thought on it. Maybe he's younger than I think. Yeah. Can I get more Jerry Ryan? Can I get more Jerry Ryan doing voices?
Yeah. She kind of had a few bits between Voyager and obviously now on Picard. Like she was on, was it a show called... Well, no, it was like a kind
It
of
was a
lawyer.
legal show, right?
Yeah, it was a kind of legal show.
Yeah.
She was
Boston Legal. Was
wasn't
she on
Boston
that
Legal,
one?
no.
No, that's
might be
the William Shatner vehicle.
Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah,
was
yeah,
great.
yeah. It's the other legal one. Whatever.
Yeah. There's a million of them.
Legal comedies. Wallace
Shark.
Shawn's apparently on Young Sheldon.
What?
Yeah.
Still not gonna watch it, but
No,
I appreciate it.
here he is.
Hey, it's a Frank.
It's a Frank. Let him be Frank. I need like intro music for you guys whenever you pop up. Ba-ba-ba-da-da-da. Speaking
Price
back,
is Right theme.
here he is.
Gentlemen, I got
You are
here as
here.
quickly as I could.
We
Well,
believe in you.
as soon as I heard the news, I rushed. We went right past hair and makeup, ran right in, no jacket, no tie. Ladies and
No
gentlemen,
pants.
I have breaking news, and this may upset some of you. Some of you may feel ill from this news. If that happens, seek medical attention. I understand. Ladies and gentlemen, there is going to be a season 3 of Star Trek Picard.
Are we getting a delayed feed here, Frank? Is this delayed?
Hi.
Hi.
You know what one of my favorite meme images is on the entire internet? It's a picture of a Slowpoke from Pokemon, and he's just like at a news desk, and he goes, "Breaking news!" And then it's just something that's like 15 years old. It's like my favorite bit I've ever seen.
Bill Clinton?
Breaking news Slowpoke. Yeah,
Use
no,
of sexual
Bill
misconduct.
Framed. That being said, I have tried to avoid, because I wanted to watch it with my old man, so I've been trying to avoid Picard spoilers, but I've heard generally positive things about it.
Just for you guys, we are keeping this a spoiler-free zone
Yes.
because this man hasn't seen it. Some people in chat haven't seen it yet, so those are limited.
All
with the
I will
technology
say
of their
is, and we may agree to disagree, you may encounter once you watch it, and I do implore you, podcast listener, viewer, intergalactic being, whatever, to seek out the show and give it a chance, despite past things. You may see one of the best written and performed Star Trek characters of the last 20 years in the show. You may not, but I think you may. We'll see.
Is it Riker?
time. Anson Mount's in this?
May. Okay. Aside from Strange New Worlds,
Strange New Times.
The
Okay.
disrespect of Michelle Yeoh.
We've started already.
okay. Aside from Discovery, okay.
and Prodigy, and
Oh,
I've heard good things
So-
about this William Shatner fellow.
You have.
Yeah, he's great on the Twilight Zone.
So,
wasn't
I think season 2 is generally considered a disappointment by most people. I know, Idol,
Yeah.
you liked certain
he? I like some aspects of
bylines
it.
through there. So is it a step up from that? Or is it just a whole different animal?
I mean, season 2 started off thumbs up, and we've said thumbs up to season 3 so far in the first 2 episodes. It just depends on where it goes. It's got to stick the landing. Like season 2 didn't really stick the landing. Same with season 1. Like there were, and we can talk about season 2 here all we like. You know, that's been on a while now. But the thing I found with season 2 and a little bit season 1 is like ultimately in the terms of season 3, it's not gonna be pointless. There wasn't really there's you can watch season 3
Wheel
without
spinning.
watching any of season 1 and 2 and just go straight into season 3. And
Are
maybe
you
that's
telling
kind of the
me
idea.
that Picard's robot body is not like a massive plot point?
It never was going to be. That was like pulled out their ass at the last minute. He's dying, but we need to produce 2 more seasons. Shit, what can we do? Oh look, we're in an android base. Quick, build him. We have the technology.
Yeah, but that was always a weird thing to me anyway, because it's like they kill off at the end of season 3. Then why do you have to build a new body from now? I don't understand.
They want a cheap pop. They want all the emotional resonance with none of the consequences.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was season 1's problem.
And a little bit.
But enough about Discovery. Let's talk more about Picard. Sorry. I know you guys love Discovery. All right, so if we can rubber band back to where you were right before I joined, I've always been curious about Discovery's ratings, which I think they've always been tight-lipped about, and we may never see that Pandora's box. I think they got like the rating for the season 1 premiere because it was broadcast on cable, but I think beyond that, have we ever gotten any firm numbers?
Well, it's kind of impossible to really measure how a streaming service like show does, because it's like, what do you rate it from? Do you rate it from people who open up the episode? Do you rate it from people who open up the page? Do you rate it from people who started the episode? Do you for people who ended the episode? Do you for people who the entire season? Do you do it for people who like what's your metric? You know, it's like if you want, I'd love an exhaustive breakdown of each and every individual thing. Like that's kind of the advantage of streaming services. You can literally dial in what's the scene that made people give up. Or what like I can imagine that for you. Or I imagine you could track exactly when, but it's like
So I just thought, well, hang on, there is a user-based review site, Metacritic, which is used for for general aggregate, and Metacritic rates it at a 7.2. But I was just reading, there's some wonderful user reviews, and you know how vitriolic people can be about Discovery.
Oh, well, here we go. YouTube comments.
This is funny. It's like this comment here: next gen inspired a generation. If Discovery is a revisualization of our future, we should have stayed in the trees. Oh, now I'm on a rabbit hole of reading terrible comments about Discovery, but there we go. I think it's done well. It's done well enough that they've done enough seasons of it. I think them retooling it at the end of season 2 was a big sign that they said, like, okay, we need to kind of move away from the bits that people don't like and do something that might get people into it.
Well, the thing with that I always felt with Discovery was that season 1, and then to an even greater degree to a degree, is season 2, was we are unsure of what this is going to be like. Star Trek has not been on TV for, at that point, freaking 12 years at that point? Was it been 12 years since the end of Enterprise?
Was that
2005, 2017? Yeah, that's 12 years.
Yep.
Yeah, so like 12 years. We don't know if people would even give a shit. It's like what, and with nostalgia, it's such an easy pop. It is such an easy thing. Like, look, these are the things you care about. We can throw out these names out, and just like Picard and Worf, why do you always bring up nostalgia? Because it always works.
It always works, Worf.
Because it always works, Worf. Because people will pay more attention when you say Spock, and when you throw Sarek at the screen, and when you mention Pike, or when you use Kirk. People will pay more attention, and that is unfortunate, but it's also true.
I think that's been my...
I assume that...
Yeah. So I think it's been my
thing with...
And now you talk.
me, you go.
Okay. I think it's like my only major criticism with New Trek is that it doesn't do anything like without stepping. It hasn't stepped out the shadows of old Trek. Like nothing has been wholly original, or at least been 2 degrees of separation removed from something. Discovery is born out of TOS, and Spock's relationship still is. Picard obviously is what it is. Lower Decks is possibly close to being one of the first original things that they've done, but still has a few little ties. Bringing back Frakes and things like that.
It's every episode is a cavalcade of references.
Yeah, exactly. Prodigy, that's on the shadows of Voyager, and that would be nice to kind of have a TV, say they say, right, we're setting it in the 26th century, and it's going to have just this crew or this situation setting, and we'll have an Andorian there, or we'll have a Bolian, and we'll have going to this location, but there won't be like, this is so and so from so and so, and this is the Enterprise, and like it'd be nice if they did something wholly new, just something completely.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why they made the jump from season 2 to season 3 and jumped like 900 years in the future, is they gained confidence. They were like, cool, people care enough about Star Trek that we can do kind of more stuff with it. They jumped into the future, and now it's a case of, okay, now how people are going to take to a completely alienated setting where the only legacy characters are our own legacy characters, where there is not a single character who we can show a video clip of Spock, that's about it. No one else is alive. And then people were like, you know what, season 3 and 4 of Discovery, a lot of people liked them more than season 1 and 2, but some people didn't. You know, I understand that. And it's a case of now they've gone from cool, people care about Star Trek, people can care about Star Trek without legacy characters. Now let's do Star Trek, you know, completely divorced. So if they end up doing that Academy show, yeah, you might end up seeing 1 or 2 characters from Discovery show up. If you know, that's the speculation at the moment. But that's probably the closest thing to what you're saying, Idol, is being actually completely divorced and being completely whole cloth new characters, essentially.
Yeah.
Because Deep Space Nine and Voyager in their first episode said, hey, we're part of the universe. See this other person? Hey. And then they try and go off on their own. Occasionally they throw in an Easter egg with, oh, hey, look, here's a starship doctor. Hey, look who we're talking to via, you know, technobabble through 70,000 light years. But Discovery, to your point, doubles down on that because it's like, not only are you fucking never going to see anybody again that you know, but we're going 1,000 years into the future, so you're really never going to hear about them.
Yeah.
And no other show will ever reference these people unless you see a Stamets class shuttle or something.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Like something like that. Like it's forever going to be divorced, but that's a nice thing because it's kind of like, I call it, and forgive me for saying the dirty word, the Star Wars problem is you don't have to have the entire universe focusing around the Skywalker family. You don't have to have the entire Star Trek universe focusing around the Enterprise and the people around its bubble. Starfleet's big, the Federation's big. There's other things going on, other places in space. Let's go see them.
Yeah, that was actually something I actually really appreciate about Discovery Season 3, was it would have been really easy to have like the Enterprise Z in freaking Earth space in the Federation space dock. It would have been really easy, but they were like, no, Voyager J, and it's like, cool, yeah, people would care about the Voyager enough to give it a J. It's like that, like you say, it's widen out the universe a little bit. Make sure that, you know, if you're gonna do the nods, do it to the bits that people wouldn't necessarily call out immediately as being obvious.
The advantage of Voyager was, you know, as middling as it was at times, it did have the advantage of, like what I said, like it went to a completely new place. Everything was original. You know, every week was a new alien race. It wasn't just like, we're going back to the Klingons, or we're going back over here, or it's the Cardassians again.
Meanwhile, season 4, here's the Kazon again. What?
Well, you know what I mean, yeah. And they did eventually until they went back to the Borg, but yeah, that would have been... Yeah,
it turns out that none of them were competent pilots, and they were just going in a circle in the Delta Quadrant, and they kept running into the same aliens and the same planets.
You asshole!
The Paris is tanked again.
Didn't we pass you guys like 10 months ago? And they're like, yeah, and you're back.
Yeah. Same Civil War?
One of Discovery's strengths was the speed at which... I mean, the 12 years between series also had the advantage of technology improves big time. So the effects, visuals, costuming, I mean, people quibble about big redesigns like with the Klingons, but other than that, those are things that they're lauded for by almost everyone. So with that in the back pocket, they should have gone, I mean, benefit of hindsight, they should have jumped ahead from the start. But, you know, networks, same with Hollywood. Why we have sequel 18 or whatever of Fast and Furious is because they don't want to take the risk of throwing themselves out there. But with the backing of the great visuals that they had, even at launch in 2017, they really could have gone boldly, as it were.
Yeah, I think it was just straight up fear because of the way the Enterprise had died. The Enterprise died a slow, limping death because of ratings, and that's not a good way to go out, you know?
You hear about Connor Trinier talking about how they were thinking they were going to be cancelled after season 1, so or season 2 at least. You know, you talk about it. Wrapping it back around to the point of like Paramount, you know, cutting budgets and, you know, talking about tightening belts, and I don't think anything's going to happen to Star Trek. I think that's probably the one thing they're going to say. This is where our money is. We're going to put our films, not Star Trek films, but we're going to put our films out. We're going to do Yellowstone, and we're going to do Star Trek, and maybe tighten up other things.
To clarify, if you ever had any thoughts about, you know, Kelvin surviving.
Well, I think it is time for Kelvin, watch. See, I've got the reverb. We can do that. Did you know there's, every week...
I need to get paid every time you do that, by the way.
Do you know, I keep thinking, like, every time I do a Star Trek show, the one week there will be no news about Star Trek 4, but I'm wrong, because Matt Shackman, the previous director, who has now gone off to work on the Fantastic Four for Marvel, which I don't blame him for getting the better gig, has recently come out and said, no, it's still happening. It's one of Paramount's franchise tentpoles. Like, they absolutely still want to do it. And I feel like someone is contractually required to come out every month and say, like, yeah, no, remember Kelvinverse and Star Trek 4? It's still happening, promise. Really mean it this time.
But the tent blew away.
Years ago.
Canvas is gone. It had holes in it.
Yeah, and there's other people talking about, maybe it'll be a smaller budget film, and they're starting to sort of backtrack and say maybe it could be a TV film. But yeah, there's still the obligatory once a month someone coming out of their office and going, yeah, still happening. Bye. I think they share an office with the Section 31 people as well.
They'll be trying to get Chris Pine out of retirement before they actually shoot the next one.
But there'll be a good chance. They could do the motion picture now this time, because they could do him as an Admiral Kirk. He'd be old enough to do that and probably enough time to get away with it.
That'd be kind of fun. I'd be okay with that, but I don't think they're ever going to do it, because that's guess what? You have to pull Zoe Saldana out of freaking James Cameron's cold, icy grip because he's making her work in the Avatar slave mines. That's hard enough scheduling conflict on its own.
Listen,
and I think Paramount has enough, and I'm giving a lot of credit here. I think they have enough common sense not to let brand confusion happen, because obviously we're all loyal to the brand. To a casual viewer who says, oh, hey, what's coming out this summer? A Star Trek film. Cool. Not knowing there's already 5 Star Trek series playing right now, and this is a completely different cast, unrelated to any of them. You're going to see a different Spock than you could see on Strange New Worlds, a different Kirk that you could see on Strange New Worlds, or anything else that doesn't tie into anything, never will,
and in fact will directly conflict in terms of how they are maybe characterized.
And why?
I think it's a good way of sort of saying, right, this is the public Star Trek, and then this is the fan Star Trek. With the disadvantage of Paramount Plus is everything's locked away under a subscription service. Works for Disney because everyone knows about Star Wars, it's huge. But with Star Trek, it is like everyone's aware. Oh yeah, Star Trek's a thing. Oh yeah, they're making new series. But if you put it out as a film, people go like, I'll go and watch it, and they'll think, oh, actually, maybe I'll go and check it out on the Paramount Plus. And they need to kind of do a little bit more synergy there and have the little freebies go out, or like the big films, and they can sort of tie it in that way. Maybe that's kind of the reason they're sort of saying there is still a film happening, is they're trying to.
So what you're saying is that we should get a Discovery movie. Got it.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, actually.
Actually, I just threw a poll up in chat, and I omitted Deep Space Nine because I think they were going to win in a landslide anyway. Which of the series would you want a movie for? Voyager, Enterprise, Discovery? And I put in Lower Decks because they do have a couple seasons.
Enterprise. Easy.
Yeah,
I think Voyager did their best to tie a bow on things. Enterprise had a lot open-ended, plus such a disappointing finale. I think they do have a lot to explore there. Discovery, I think, could do fine.
The Search for Trip.
It'd be really easy to do a Discovery movie, yeah. The Search for Trip. Just do the Romulan War. Fucking everyone wants to see it. You can do it on a movie budget really well.
Yeah.
I can barely sit through a whole Lower Decks though, because it is very frantic. I think 2 hours of that might blow me up. So
I mean, they did a Bob's Burgers movie lately. I'm sure they can do anything. There's a Simpsons movie.
But even that's a different pace.
I do like Bob's Burgers.
People do love animated movies.
Yeah.
If it were a Voyager movie, would we see Harry Kim get promoted in the first or final scene?
No, he'd leave.
He'd get promoted in the first scene and get killed.
He would martyr himself or something. Yeah.
The real Harry Kim that died would come back. That would be the film. He'd come back, plan revenge.
You've been playing too much Star Trek Online.
That was a plot, wasn't it?
Walt, you are not the only person who thought that Ethan Bakupek really suited the beard.
He should have. I don't know. I think they had to shave Spock. The biggest Star Trek's biggest crime was shaving your Spock.
Star Trek 14: The Shave of Spock.
Too many razors.
Guess what? If we could have had a bridge with both bearded Pike and both bearded Spock, man,
everyone's bearded. Bearded Ortegas. Bearded
bearded lawn, absolutely.
They have giant hand railings always on bridges anyways. He might as well just quarter his horse, right next to Ops.
What's Seabiscuit doing here?
If Strange New Worlds continues to be successful and they do more
I love
seasons
that.
of it, that some writer in that writer's room is going to be looking at his whiteboard of ideas for the season. Shit, what do we do? What's that place where they mirror? Mirror Universe. That's the one. All right, boys, you're going to be evil this episode. You know it's going to happen.
I hope so.
Like
That'd be cool.
it's
I'd
so-
like
Pike
to
already
see Mirror
knows,
Pike.
so it'll be easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Elysian Kingdom was basically the you guys get to have fun episode for the actors. So it was a mirror episode in essence.
Do you think?
In a way,
Do you
yeah.
think if Pike bought his horse on the bridge, do you think they'd give it a uniform and a rank?
Yes, absolutely.
Wait,
Be
so
a
how
yeoman.
does it stand across 2 transporter platforms, or does it come in a shuttle?
No, he's the cargo
he
transporter.
has awful transporter phobia, so he goes in the show.
But how does he stand at a console? Do you reckon he?
No, he's not a crewman. He's just a horse idol.
No, but now
Come
we want
on.
him to be a crewman. This is the 23rd
Just
century.
a horse, that's discrimination. We don't
Yeah.
stand for that
We've got
stuff.
sentient dolphins in lower decks. We can have an equestrian department. It's got to happen. Come on.
I don't know why my mind went there, but I'm just picturing Pike, and I guess evil Pike, standing there with his horse on the bridge barking out orders, and the horse just takes a massive crap right there, and it's like not meant as comedy. Like the ensigns at the con just look over and like, oh god, I have to clean that up now.
What if
Would
the
Mirror
horse?
Pike have no hair but a massive beard?
Oh my word! Bald Anson Mount. I can't even picture
Bald
it.
and bushy beard.
Yes.
Oh, he'd look like a
That's the way it's got to go, right?
like a biker or something. No, all I'm
I mean, he
picturing
was
is-
on Hell in Wheels.
I'm just picturing the horse barking orders on the bridge now, and I'm just thinking this needs to happen.
It's just
No, I
a
think
horse
Mirror-
idol, not Mr. Ed.
By the way, one of the best. I mean, Michael Dorn is a funny guy, but at the end of Starship Mine, where they do the bit with the saddle, and Worf goes, "Of course,"
right.
you know, the Mr. Ed nod. That's so good.
No,
Yeah.
I
So
thought
Mirror
there was news.
Mirror Pike is Fat Thor, basically.
Fat Thor. Yeah, he never went into Mirror. Was there a Mirror Pike? I think he got mentioned, didn't he? But I don't think we never saw.
He
him
got
there.
killed by Mirror Kirk.
Mirror
yeah.
Kirk, yeah. They could play that out with Paul Wesley, couldn't they? That could be his own
kill
little
that,
spin-off. And
And he also can't cook.
yeah.
He's a terrible cook. That's how he kills people. He poisons them with horrible food.
Yeah, there you go. That's the easy one.
Yeah.
You know, that's the ultimate subversion. He's a wonderful cook as well, but he kills them with his food. Don't get invited to the captain's table.
Yeah, everyone's just really nervous around the table, like handcuffed to the desk, like.
Like an episode of Saw. One of you has been poisoned.
One of you has the
You'll
antidote.
find out after the hors d'oeuvres.
The other one is a horse. Find out next week.
A horse and a cloaking device.
No,
Oh my God.
Pike serves his horse. Mirror Pike would serve his horse, killing him.
The horse is dead. Long live the new horse.
Okay, that's
That's
the
right. Did
title
you have
of
more
this
news
episode
and
now.
notes, Idle, or are
I
we just
do,
going to
but
talk
you
about?
just-
You
outta
came
here.
here and perfectly
We're
sidetracked
horsing
the whole
around too much. Get us
conversation.
out of here.
Yeah, who sidetracked us?
All right. How about some really depressing news? Let's bring it down.
Oh, thanks.
No, very sad to hear.
More
that-
Discovery?
well,
High five.
very sadly, Gerald Fried has died at the age of 95. And for those that don't know him, he was the composer of many classic TOS soundtracks, including Amok Time, the famous Vulcan, ba 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 ba, you know, that soundtrack. So sadly, he's passed away. A huge history of composing behind him, but notably on Star Trek. So very sad to hear him go. But on the good side, and talking music, Nami Melumad, who is the composer of Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Prodigy, a
Who
protege
did a
of
wonderful arrangement of that same TOS fight music.
Indeed. The protege of Michael Giacchino, I can never say his name, has won the David Raskin Award for Emerging Talent. So Star Trek biting her teeth on has definitely done a lot. And I've been listening to the sort of, as I said earlier, I've been listening to Star Trek soundtracks in the car, and the Prodigy and Strange New Worlds
She
one.
did the Prodigy's score, right?
She did
'Cause
the
I think
score, but not the
Giacchino
theme
did
song.
the theme.
Yeah.
He did the theme. But honestly, I really like the scoring for Prodigy. It's
So
really
good, yeah.
lush.
That and Lower Decks have got some really, like, I mean, Jeff Russo is okay, the guy that does like Discovery and stuff, but it never feels like it's a fully fledged Star Trek soundtrack. And then you go and listen to like Chris Westlake's Lower Decks soundtracks, and they're brilliant, proper evocative of like classic sort of TNG themes and real dynamism. And the same with like Naomi Millamad stuff in like Strange New Worlds and Prodigy. It's a step above.
Guess what? She deserves it. She does good fucking work.
Yeah. Would you like
I'm
to...
so glad that we exist in an era of Star Trek without Sonic wallpaper.
Yes. Oh, weren't you? Yeah. Are you talking about the Ron Jones stuff or the ones that have come?
Well, no, because you know this story, right? About how like season 1 and 2 and 3 of TNG have wonderful orchestration, including the incredible Borg theme for Best of Both Worlds. Your music's too distracting.
Yeah, and then
People want Sonic wallpaper that they can just tune out and listen to the dialogue, and it's like, shut the fuck up, you fucking reprobate, you fucking degenerate.
You got Jay Chataway in. Now, who was the guy that did Generations and most of TNG? I forget his name now.
Dennis
McCarthy.
McCarthy?
Dennis McCarthy. I was going to say Dennis Waterman, but that's the guy from Minder and did Sing the Theme Tune.
Sing the theme tune. I actually really like the score for Generations. Generations has some really good music in it.
Which is
it's no Insurrection.
The Nexus theme is great. Well, Insurrection does actually have a really good score as well. The only one that kind of sucks is like, you know, Nemesis isn't Goldsmith's best work.
It's not his best.
It's not his best work.
But to give all the Kelvin soundtracks, give Kelvin slack. Its soundtracks are really good. Like Michael Giacchino has got like that.
Well, yeah, he's never put in a bad day of work in his life.
No, yeah, really good. How would you like to own some on vinyl? Because on March 24th,
I actually do own some on vinyl.
Oh, do you? What have you got?
Don't kill the Segway stars.
Let me go and get. Hang on.
He's gone. While he's going and finding it, you can own Lower Decks Volume 1 by Chris Westlake on vinyl on March 24th. It's actually coming out, and I believe that's one of the only soundtracks that's coming to vinyl anytime soon. I don't believe any of the more recent ones have. Go on, what you got? Hold it closer.
I have the Wrath of Khan soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh my gosh, the Chris Horner one. Oh, that's so epic.
This is it's from Mondo, so you've got Khan on City Alpha there. That's another thing.
That's awesome.
And then this is my favorite part. The interior is the Battle of Mutara Nebula.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
And the actual vinyl themselves, you might recognize the pattern on those, if I can get it out of here. It's the only vinyl I own, because I don't own a fucking vinyl player.
Okay, you're coming around so we can play that. Oh, wow.
You got the Mutara Nebula effect on the actual vinyl. Fucking beautiful.
That. I need to have that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you can get these anymore.
Oh,
I got this given as a present for me years ago, but it's one of my most treasured possessions.
Right, I'm coming to raid your house now. There may shortly be a robbery. But yeah.
Sorry, I completely sidetracked you there. Right?
No, it's fine. That's pretty much
vinyls for Lower Decks.
That's it. Yeah, Vinyl Deck and Lower Decks on March 24th. That was my little piece of news for those that like to do that. How about, right, so do you remember TNG, early the Next Generation, we had the big Dustbuster phasers. Do you remember those big boys with
the ones that weren't meant to look like guns?
No, they just kind of looked like you were about to sort of like have your jacket, you know,
change the channel.
Yeah, change the channel. How would you like to own a replica one?
No.
No? Anyone?
No.
No? Well, there's a company.
Not really.
If you are interested. No, that's not the end
of it. Just keep reading the promo. Well, you're in luck.
No, you are in luck. Because for the low cost of $555, you could own a replica Type 2 Dustbuster from Sideshow. And to be fair, it does look good. I'm going to put a link in chat now. It does look good.
Is that the one that killed Yudo of the Clan Trilesta?
Very possibly.
I think that was a Type 1, wasn't it?
It comes in its own case. It comes in its own box, which you can unwrap and unveil.
Oh, yeah. They used the Type 1 back then.
Yeah. That is extortionate. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money for a bit of plastic. Like, I appreciate people like their replicas, but I'm sure you can find a friend with a 3D printer that could do a good job.
Well, I'm looking down and it's like freaking like, do you want an ILEA sensor and command insignia set for $100? The ILEA sensor? You mean a little fucking jelly top that you put on your fucking neck? Like what?
Well, that's because her oath of celibacy is on file.
Guess what? If I could get a copy of for her fucking oath of celibacy as like a certificate, like her actual written certificate, I would buy that. I would have that framed as like, what's that? That's Lieutenant Eileen Celibacy record. It's on record.
I mean, this company do some outrageous stuff. You can get the cricket phaser for $300, or you can get a.
I would have that one. That's more iconic to me.
Yeah, a 6-scale figure of Lieutenant Commander Tuvok for $200. Like, come on.
No thanks. I have a life-size plushie.
You want a 1-ounce silver coin of Leonard McCoy for $100? Like, really?
It's.
I would rather spend my money on eBay and buy, and I don't know that you've ever heard of this, but I looked it up. It's called Vinyl, I think. It is the Star Trek II soundtrack in a special edition pressing and case, very rare, $180 American.
Wow.
Yes.
That's how much that's worth? Wow.
Yes.
Stars, I'll
There's
give you
only 2 on eBay.
Jesus.
You could have
know that.
3 Dustbusters for that.
You could.
Wow.
You could have 2 Dustbusters and a cricket phaser.
Oh, you would be well armed.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I was going to buy any phaser, I wouldn't buy any of the Type 1s or Type 3s. I'd buy the phaser rifles. I'd want the TOS phaser rifle from where No Man's Gone before, because I think that's actually a really cool design. And I'd want the First Contact phaser rifle. I think that's like the coolest design.
You'd be the most armed British man.
Damn right. Well, guns are illegal here, but that's fine.
Yes.
Phaser rifles aren't.
Correct. Loophole.
Yeah, for $500, I'd want a working phaser. It would need. I want to kill rats with it. Come on. How about something? This one may be a bit more, depending on your opinion on how money works. Maybe a bit more reasonable. How about a Star Trek First Contact Borg Queen skull signature edition prop replica? And I'm going to put this one in chat as well. For the low cost.
Now you have my opinion. Now you have my attention.
$1,499.99 for a replica of the Borg Queen's skull. Yeah, is that a lot? Yeah.
Get out of here, Kirk. Now that is a really cool replica.
It is
because
really
it does actually have working LEDs, and it can fade out just like that. That being said, I already have a T1000 skull somewhere around here, so like I would conflict. I get confused.
The thing that makes me laugh at the bottom of the advert.
Signed.
It's signed as
What
well.
is signed? Susanna?
Alice Krieg.
Alice.
Yeah,
Alice. Oh no, Alice Krieg.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it would be. Miss Krieg, well.
The funniest thing is at the bottom it says requires 3 AAA batteries, not included. Like for that kind of money, I'd want a whole set of batteries. Come on, like
1,500 only goes so far.
I'd want a power supply on, since I could have it on all the time.
Yeah, but the problem with it is you would be so tempted to snap it in half like Picard does. Like I wouldn't trust myself to not do that.
Okay, but why doesn't? I would want one of those the prop toy ones that you can get that that you can snap it and then it snaps right back. I'd want one of those.
Oh yeah,
a cheap
do they really make those?
No, they don't, but they should.
Oh, okay.
Like we've always been talking about how Star Trek has let down the merchandising thing. If I could have one where you get a satisfying crack noise, but then it's it clicks right back, I'd buy that.
Why is it so expensive? Why is it that much money?
Well, because it's real metal. That's why. And it's sculpted
metal isn't even that expensive. Expensive.
Yeah, it's actually very metal.
It's ridiculous. I kind of want to see what else this company do. Like this.
Cast from heavyweight polyurethane resin with an electroplated chrome finish.
They did that so that the phaser looks reasonable in comparison.
And it was also, and they had to go, remember, built into the cost, they had to fly to Alice's home where she put on a glove, and I don't know if she thinks she's Michael Jackson or what. She puts on one glove here and signs with the glove on and the pin, because got to keep the pin clean.
And the glove is made out of an Enterprise crewman's flesh, yes.
It is, yes. Screen-worn glove, actually. So that's built into the cost, because she's not cheap to come to her house. I mean, I had to pay $5,000 to go to her house once. She didn't even feed me. No batteries either.
She didn't feed you any batteries? That's awful.
Terrible. They do some cool props. Like they do a medical set limited replica, like the proper, hypo sprays, and they do like a thing. But that is also $400, and I've got to be serious. Like you have to have a friend with a 3D printer. Like that's got to be better.
You could buy a good 3D printer for cheaper than that.
Exactly. A 3D printer and probably do a course in Blender or something. spend.
Well, you can buy the files from Etsy these days.
All
Someone
that,
will
yeah.
make it for you if you pay
Someone
them.
got
Yeah.
that. Speaking of models that were expensive and went out of print, Eagle Moss. This is our other monthly recurrent thing. Eagle Moss. Build the Enterprise D kit, which was summarily cancelled halfway through its run, has been revived. Actually, officially, you can, if you are collecting it and you are disappointed you only have half a saucer section and 3/4 of a Bazaar collector, you can actually go to Fan Home, who will obligate and continues your subscription. So fear not. If you wanted to spend $1,500 on a copy of the Enterprise D that is about that big, you can continue it as well. So there's been no news about.
But it has a working warp core.
Yeah, bloody better do.
I assume.
You buy this, it'll defy the laws of physics.
If it were the Enterprise E, it could come with the Borg Queen skull.
Yeah, there you go.
Just like a tiny little bit of plastic that's on the Enterprise engineering floor.
But yeah, so still
I
general.
know. I wanted to have the additional 29th deck and like the Reman Viceroy's like body to have splattered onto it. I want like a little sticker you can put on with the...
Yeah, it has to have like one of those magic mirrors. When you open it up, you look inside, and then there's that bottomless deck. And no matter how you look at it, it just looks into infinity. But you look at the ship, and it's like, oh, it's not there. There's a very tiny Riker on the catwalk in it.
He was all the way down here, you see, and they started up here, so he fell all that way, and that Reman anatomy, you can't survive that.
They were on deck 29.
Right, which is right there, you see, and then they fell down here, and
no, carry on.
Yes.
No, you know what? I think I understand what happened. So they fell off of deck 29, and then he fell onto deck 78 of the Enterprise A from Final Frontier, got caught by Spock on the rocket boots, and then, okay, I see, totally. Yeah.
And then got into the infinite turbo lift on the Enterprise in Strangely World. No, in Discovery.
There's a long history of this.
This whole thing starts to fall apart the more we talk about it. In the beginning,
almost like it's some kind of TV show that's often with a low budget. I don't. Crazy.
How many shuttles have you got? How many photon torpedoes left, Voyager? Don't think about it. Don't worry about it.
Many.
Well, I'm out of news now. How are you guys? I feel like I've waffled over you since you've arrived.
What they made, like what is it? Unobtainium, like
unobtainium
metal.
Yeah.
Okay, what if they made that for like a torpedo casing and just fired it into the other ship's warp core? Then the ship explodes. You can tractor your torpedo back and use it again. Infinite torpedoes, right?
I think that you just call that a javelin. Like, you just throw it, and you kill the enemy, and you pick it up.
And so why don't they just make javelins instead of torpedoes, and then they can use them forever?
Didn't Worf try to do that in an episode with the torpedo that could kind of track around? He got very frustrated and then turned into a protomorphosis creature.
I don't think he was working on the tracking systems in that one.
What was he doing in that one?
He was working on tracking down Troy.
He was trying to do that for 7 seasons. He still failed.
Oh my god. It was good, but oh my god.
I don't know. He upgraded to Jadzia, so I think he won in the end.
No, for a minute.
Well,
Yeah, I'd take Riker.
I don't know. I can see the fire in Worf's eyes.
Can't see it in Geordie's.
Okay, goodbye, folks.
Oh, this isn't the end. This isn't the end. Sorry, I'm just readjusting my.
Guess what? It was good enough for TNG to make that joke. It's good enough for us.
I think it was unintentional. I think whoever wrote that wasn't aware.
No,
of the cast
they
were
absolutely
writing
fucking knew. With the way LeVar Burton looked at Michael Dorn, they knew.
All right.
I did. They weren't aware.
I'd like to take you guys to a piece of my past. So many years ago, there was, when I was a wee 12-year-old, there was a publishing company in the UK that started to produce a thing called the Star Trek Fact Files. May have heard about them. It was only released in the UK, and once every couple of weeks, I could spend my mother's £2 and buy a copy of a magazine.
2 whole pounds.
2 whole pounds.
Really should weigh more than that.
That you could get a whole file of different facts about Star Trek, and you could rip them all apart and put them in folders and organise them. Well, I used to have a lot of them, and I sadly got rid of them for some strange reason. There we go, Stars is flexing. Stars is flexing with the actual material here. Look at that.
I don't know if I have issue 1 in here, but you'll have to tell me what's in there.
I will tell you what's. Well, I won't just tell you. I'm going to show you what's in issue 1. We're going to look. I might spin this on something. We'll see. But I have every issue of the Star Trek Fact File digitized now, thanks to someone.
Wow.
Some very hardworking people on archive.org, and I've had to sort of. I wanted to recreate it. People have organised it into like the actual order of things. I've actually put it back into issue format. I'd like to kind of like go through it and look through it, and just because it's how I learned Star Trek after becoming like a fan, and then getting all these. And I used to spend like ages sort of just reading all these magazines and absorbing all these facts into my blood instead of learning and doing my GCSEs.
Favourite part of all this is how awful the fucking resolution is on the pictures. Like they are in the worst standard definition I've ever seen.
Let me go. Let me
see if I can get it up.
Sorry, I've had to tweak my layout a little bit. Ding ding ding. Right. There we go. Right, hang on. I just need to tweak your faces a minute.
Can you tell who that is?
Hang on a
minute. Barely.
Hang on. Stay there.
Yeah, it's Geordi and Relics.
Geordi and that
you can
old
barely
relic.
tell if you look at the actual picture. Let me see if I can get like, even more. Yeah, they're just really. Yeah, look at that. Like. Yeah.
I mean, they had to work.
It's not exactly remastered quality, is it?
Well, it was 1990 something, 1998, 96 maybe, probably earlier than that.
Probably dated on here.
Probably is dated, but anyway. I'm just going to arrange your face on the screen because set up for 3.
So these came
1996.
These came bi-weekly.
These came on the underside of bottle caps or what?
No, you could just buy them in your local newsagent would supply them. You'd ask them for the subscription, and then they'd my one would save it every week, and then I'd go in and I'd say, "Here's my £2, please. Please don't show everyone." And I used to sneak it in my bag because I didn't want to see everyone to see what I was reading. But yeah, we'll go through the
two things a teenage boy must hide: pornography and
Star Trek magazines.
Files.
Yeah, I might as well be buying Penthouse every week.
Idle, did you get beat up as a kid?
Not physically, but emotionally.
Oh, so nothing's changed then.
I'm just better at dealing with it now. I suppress it into my sadness. Speaking of, where are my antidepressants? I need to take mine today.
Thanks to today's sponsor, BetterHelp.
So, if
Please donate to Mind.
Direct your attention to the stream, because I can't show this through Discord for some reason. It was being really funny with me, so you have to look on the stream. We have the whole first issue here of the Star Trek Fact Files for only $1.99 per. But I think it's bi-weekly. Walt's saying it's a week. I'm pretty sure I remember it being once every other week, because I remember getting very excited that it was coming. But this is the first issue. So issue 1. I'll zoom in here. We're going to have the Star Trek timeline, not timelines that hadn't been made yet. That's not for another. Issue 1. Oh, that's me. Hi, Frank.
Oh, you sound awful.
Nothing's changed. Klingon Empire, the Klingon race, the Enterprise G. The one thing I really loved about the Star Trek Fact Files was the attention to detail. They used to make whole deck plan. Well, we'll go through, and used to gather this week by week.
The diagrams are easily the best part.
These are easily so good. But so we get our first introduction, space, the final frontier, the traditional thing, and it used to show you how to organize the files in the sections, and very, and this might have been where I came from, where my love of spreadsheets came from, because this definitely was like, here, organize something.
Hold on. It says the Trills.
The Trills.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. It should be the Trill.
There's a race of 2 joined species, the Trills.
And other groups.
Maybe that was right how it was. Maybe it was the Trills. Because there was more than one of them per person.
Don't defend them. Your childhood
sorry.
was a sham.
Space phenomena, galactic archaeology. Is that a Horgon? No, that's not a Horgon. What is that?
Hold on. Is that TNG? Is that TNG Ducat for the Cardassians?
That's
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Golmaset, yeah. So this was before Enterprise. Like, this is all coming out. I think they eventually adapted it to Enterprise. And they got the Q continuum.
Yeah, I don't think it even goes up to the end of Voyager and DS9. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because if this is 99, it should have some DS9. Well, obviously,
yeah, it will do. But yeah, and then we've got the Antideans down there representing every other alien. But
other.
So start with
they are the most handsome race.
So your first option,
true.
the Klingon Empire. And you get this whole...
Oh, is that John Larroquette?
I think very much what it is. Yeah, I think it is.
Oh, wow.
We even get a picture of Kronos. It's 85%
Wow,
silicate.
Shit.
50% water. Yeah, look at the resolution
I
there.
don't remember Kronos being green.
No, what was it in Discovery? It was pretty much like...
It's red, as I
it was
recall.
reddish. Well, it's
That
green
was
here.
after their moon blew up.
Apparently it's a single large
maybe.
landmass dominated by a vast ocean. Seen
Where?
as such episodes...
On the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Or
is
is
the
it
dark
that blue
side of
splotch
Kronos.
that looks like someone sneezed on it?
Isn't that Pink Floyd album, The Dark Side of Kronos? The dark
Is in
side
my
of
mind.
Repent They Ate. And go through the rulers of the empire. That despite the presence of the so-called emperor, see already shade in the start there. The real seat of power of the Klingon Empire is the High Council.
He looks so glorious.
Have they ever had an emperor of the Klingon Empire?
Well, yeah, Kalis.
Ever?
But hang on, Cole
He
sent
was
me
never
something.
emperor.
What's Cole sent me? He sent me. Oh, we'll get there. He just sent me one of the file on Tom Paris and women. There is different sections for. There's not like a section for Captain Picard. There's like Captain Picard and Wesley Crusher, Captain Picard's love life, Captain Picard and books. Like there was so little. Like you get.
Do you want to read about Tuvok's antimatter maneuver?
Absolutely. Oh,
Okay.
We'll get there.
A list of known Klingon emperors: Kalis, Raklaw, the Second Dynasty, Raklaw, the Third Dynasty, Sompek, and Murak, and then
Indeed.
Kalis again.
I think-
That sounds fake.
I didn't vote for him the second time.
Second term wasn't as good as the first.
Even talks about the war with the Federation with this guy here. Points for remembering who that
Yeah,
is.
look at that. Look at that grainy standard definition. Love it.
They
It kind
literally.
of looks like one of those. What do they call them? Fat heads, like the stickers you put on the wall.
Yeah, I can see that.
That wasn't Cruge, was it? That's his
No.
first in command.
Some rando.
No, I've seen him before. I can't remember where he's from.
They could at least put like the character name as the caption underneath.
You
or
would have
something.
thought, right?
No. This is just a Klingon. Look,
I
how
think I
mean-
seen
Well,
him
has-
at Star Trek Las Vegas cosplaying. I think he's from a convention.
Well, how about we talk about data creation and discovery? See, this went all over the
Memory
place.
Alpha looks so different in a day.
This
Dude, that's a
essentially
great
was.
glamour shot.
But I love how they did the LCARs anyway. But he is humanoid android. Became operational. See, we had dates and everything in it. It was great. Siblings.
Only one sibling, huh?
Yeah, nah, incorrect. See, Nemesis hadn't come out, or Picard.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. How many siblings does Spock have in the fact files?
We'll find out when we get there. Probably only the one. I love the glory. See, the thing about these low def photos is they probably had to find the promo shot or take a picture of the screen and print it out and scan it again.
Look at that one of like Data with his like head up and it's like, draw me like one of your French accents.
Kind of is. I think that one's more sultry, him with the cat. That's definitely the studio shot, isn't it? The lighting.
Yeah.
Actually, that's Generations, isn't it? Look at the uniform.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, you got the uniform.
What we got over here? Oh, yes. Taking a shit, Data.
That date in the top right, he looks very nefarious.
Yes. These are all from Generations, aren't
That is the data that would convince you to get into NFTs.
they? Come get my scheme, bro. It's totally money making.
You know what I would love if there was like in your little stats you had like your name, age, siblings, like date of birth, or whatever. And then at the very bottom there was just a list of number of times has endangered or taken over the ship, and then per date it would be like
Actually, is that on
1500.
No.
That's,
No, I wish it were.
That's the Royale data. That's Daddy needs a new pair of shoes data.
The collar's not
Talking
right.
to the what?
That's season
it
3
isn't.
collar, isn't it?
No, the under the mind at work.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. Yes,
Oh
it
yeah, that
is.
absolutely is. Yeah, I can see it from the perm.
Yeah, and the bartender. Or the waitress.
Oh, plus the dice in the sand. That's also a giveaway.
No, that's not the waitress. That's the heiress who the
is it?
Texan dude
Oh.
is trying to fool into you giving all his money away. Yeah.
Apparently, it is a dicey situation. We've got Spot's poem there. But yeah, this is one of the many cards about Data. Hang on, right, let's go on. There's some good stuff. So we get the whole timeline that goes through, like, from the history of 15 billion years ago.
I
in the
do love the
universe.
formatting of this. Yeah.
This is quite cool. It's a bit weird. I hate when they do timelines like this, though, because it's kind of a bit weird to read. But you do get Ruck 500,000 years ago. Like, all the TOS stuff.
It's a bit weird that it doesn't mention the end of TNG unless that hadn't happened yet.
I
No,
think
Generations
it
was in there,
had.
so
yeah,
yeah.
Generations was in
So
it.
it should have a little section of like Q and Picard observe the primordial soup.
Yeah, I wonder if that was... Yeah, that should have been there, unless that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. They missed... factually incorrect. Well, this is version 1, isn't it?
We need a
Flint there.
picture of Picard's hand in the flubber.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sirac. Old Sirac.
Landru.
Landru. Hey, there's Flint. There we go.
Yeah. Got Flint.
There's not
Val.
Serac.
Was that the Apple? That episode? With
Yeah, that's the
Val
apple.
camera? Yeah.
Yeah.
God. And I think,
Man, Apollo.
Yeah.
Like shiny and greasy. I love it.
I can't wait to get.
Yeah, no TAS as it wasn't considered canon. at the
No,
time.
this is the thing. You won't see any TS in here, and then it carries over here. Edith Keeler. We actually goes
Wow,
all the
I've
way up
already
to,
jumped right to Edith Keeler, yeah.
yeah, there's not a lot more here, really, to be fair. Vindicar. M&R and Vindicar. Remember them? And yes, Samuel T. Clemens. Also, I think you're required to
Oh,
do your...
God.
Clemens impression.
That's all it got.
Well, now,
We'll
sir.
hear this.
I feel like there needs to be a modern version. If Sam, you know, they talk about Moriarty coming back in the trailer for season 3 of Picard. Where is Samuel Clemens coming back? Where's the greatest villain of them all?
Here's the dust that used to be his skeleton.
Can join Data's head.
Pocket sand.
Okay, how about?
Pocket ashes.
He's got like the barbershop quartet hat, and he's got like poofy white hair, and then he's got like the body of Rambo, and he's carrying a military spec submachine gun. He's like
Sub-phase pistol.
Oh.
How about, right, situation. You're in command of a vessel. Under attack from an unidentified starship. The enemy
I
appears to be...
activate self-destruct.
The enemy appears to be technologically sophisticated and may have some translate capability, although less than the Federation norm. His plasma burst
Translite.
armament is exceptionally powerful. Your options. Do you make a frontal attack, outmaneuver the hostile craft, or retreat? So yeah, this basically goes in like
I self-destruct.
the whole of the... Look at this diagram, though. The whole of the Picard maneuver.
Yeah, I do love the way they show off the diagrams.
It's really cool.
If they would have kept making this, would they have made one for the Riker maneuver with joystick?
Just,
Yeah. Yeah, deploy joystick. Is
I think that might actually be... I think Insurrection does come into this at some point.
They would print the page on the slant and ask you to like turn it to the side so you can
It'd spin it around.
pretend like you're piloting the Enterprise.
So you're not talking about the
And
other
then it just like
Riker
has a
maneuver.
little bit in the bottom right where it shows Ensign Fuck Eyes and it's like do this and impress your other officers.
She has a name. It's Ensign
Hold on.
Perim.
Have they done
No, it
Choose
says
Your Own
Buckeyes.
Adventure Star Trek books?
No.
No,
I
it
feel like
doesn't.
that is
they
a
have.
massively
Untapped
underappreciated
well,
niche.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm gonna
I
start
don't know
writing
those
my
as well.
own.
There we
Games
go.
with lots of like
Do it.
wrestling with
Put on your
Drill and
Paramount
Jello.
pitch. The Paramount asked for pitches, didn't they? You should do that. But this is not all about the Picard maneuver, though. So first, in contact, the Ferengi Marauder is approximately 9 million kilometers from the USS Stargazer. And then look, and it shows you where the true position is. Drops out of warp. Opens
See,
fire.
looking at this diagram, it's very clear that like the Marauder should have been moving
Well, it was very slightly.
very slightly.
Tiny
Less
bit.
listing lazily to the left.
Ferengi rule of acquisition number 613: let the customer come to you.
That's
Oh.
true.
There we go.
That's one of the later editions, thanks to Grand Nagus ROM.
Right. Transporters. How do they work?
Fucking transporters. How did they work?
Although it varied slightly over the years, the dematerializing shimmer and whine of the transporter beam remains unmistakably unique. Operation sequence imagine me 12 years old just going like, this is all real. Why isn't it real? And your biofilter is
I
a
imagine you at 32 doing the same thing. So
I'm nearly 40 and we're still doing we're here, right? I'm subjecting you to it now. My plan is complete. We even get the underside of a transport. I don't think you ever see like
wait, so
underneath.
is that like an exploded thing, or is that actually as deep as it goes?
I think,
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah.
What they're not showing you is that like there's a little like snowplow like extension at the very end where like your transport above goes like, everywhere.
I like how you're not like beamed like energy. You're just kind of sluiced through a machine. You just, like,
It's
go
a giant
through there.
juicer.
Yeah, they don't show that it just goes around, and then it goes shoo! The slingshot you where you need to go.
You're basically getting
Worm from
flushed.
Futurama.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how Tuvix was made. Like, two of them just went into the same vat, just mixed
In
it
the
around a bit.
emergency,
I was
the
like,
pack
oh,
can be
no!
held in the buffer for up to 420 seconds. 420 seconds? Man,
nice.
blaze that shit.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. Scotty might have something to say about that.
yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, that's very cinematic.
420 years.
But here we go. Transport between two objects at warp speed is not possible unless the warp factor is matched precisely. So, Kelvin vs. Star Trek 09, suck it.
Yeah, well, guess what? I can go suck it for other reasons.
And then they arrive, safe on the planet, intact, and probably not the same person they were before, because that original person is dead.
Yeah, whatever, Barclay.
McCoy was right. Never get in the infernal machines.
Well, the only reason he thinks that is because he was nearly killed by Rand.
That's true. And you do get episode reviews as well. Episode
Yeah.
things, and this
She
was
was pretty bad at her job, now that we think about it.
Well,
Yeah,
interestingly, upon rewatching the motion picture, she wasn't actually the one that was doing the controls at the end there. Kirk took over, and then a gelatinous mess appeared. So you could say...
Yeah, no, he took over and was like, I know this ship like the back of my head. Sir, you hit sluice instead of rematerialize.
Kirk shows up and a gelatinous mess hits the deck, huh?
Even when Rand was around, yeah. Usually his reaction.
Yeah. Then it goes through the cage. Look at the old scans of...
Look at that black and white picture as well.
I know. It's all like warm martini. And you can watch our review of this on YouTube under the Star Trek Trek.
That's true, actually.
And watch along as well. That's why I'm not talking too much about. I mean, look at the overexposure on that picture. That's bad.
Yeah, it's
The mysterious Telos Keeper. But there is a page next you will really like, which is the best of both worlds.
Good
Go
fun.
straight
Dun,
into
dun,
it. Dun, yeah.
dun,
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 dun.
dun.
Fire.
Dun.
And even you can see the captain's logs at the top. Captain's log. Admiral Hansen, Lieutenant Commander Shelby of Starfleet.
Yeah, as I
Technical
recall, the issue of this that deals with First Contact actually has some stills that aren't part of the movie.
Oh, really? I might have to go hunt that out.
Yeah, I remember ages and ages and ages ago, there was a guy asking for issues of this because he was certain that there was stills from a part where Worf and Crusher are talking before he goes up to the bridge. And I was like, I have that issue, and there is a still in there that looks like it's not from the movie, and it's like he was convinced that this was proof, and I don't think anyone else took him seriously, but it was a thing.
Shelby. And
When we get
also-
to that issue, we'll have to look at it.
I just realised this is going to be terrible for podcast listeners.
Yeah, no, it's not great.
I'll cut this bit.
Hold on. You guys remember as a kid if you found the Tootsie Pop with the Indian and the bow and arrow pointing toward the star, you could turn it in for a free Tootsie Pop?
No, because I'm not American.
You didn't have that as a kid?
Frank?
Oh, come on.
No. We had Kinder Eggs, which I don't think are allowed in your country.
Oh, they are now. They were banned
Oh,
for a
good.
while, but they did lift the ban.
People learn to chew, I get it.
Was it the best of both bands? Anyway.
I've never heard of this phenomenon, and I think I'm older than you.
Do.
Well, maybe you're too,
Phenomenon.
you're too old. I hit the sweet spot.
Hey. How about the glorious that is the Enterprise D? This is class file 25, card 1, USS Enterprise D. All the
So-
You know,
How many of these did they print?
250 odd.
you know what? Can we look at the crew layout? Because I really
yeah.
appreciate that they gave us the whole crew. So you've got Captain
Yeah.
Jean-Luc Picard, you've got Commander William Riker, you got Lieutenant Commander Data, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Lieutenant Commander Geordi, Transport Chief Miles O'Brien, Lieutenant Commander Deanna Troi,
The
Guinan,
bartender.
Commander Beverly Crusher, Ensign Wesley Crusher, and a corpse.
But where's Pulaski?
Fuck her. No one cares.
I like Pulaski. Pulaski's cool.
I like
She
how the
fell
bar-
down a turbo lift.
The bartender is part of the senior staff.
Yes.
She basically is.
Pretty much the most important person on the entire ship. Well, you get the other side of the ship here. Sorry, the fold outs don't quite work. Look at that. That
That's
looks
technically
like.
correct because they're using a picture of Lieutenant Worf there.
Hang on, let's have a look.
Yeah.
And they are actually using the DS9 O'Brien as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he wasn't.
Guess
Lieutenant
what? That's the
Commander
timeline's
till
original.
Generations. Yeah, yeah.
How much would you guys pay for the original model Enterprise D that they
Wow.
used in the pilot?
Oh, God knows.
It's
Like,
big. It's like what, 9 foot long?
Yeah, it's a big
ridiculous.
boy.
They had a million years ago in Las Vegas. There was an attraction called Star Trek Las Vegas inside a hotel, and it was cheesy, but it was gorgeous. And you walked in, and it was like the promenade of DS9, and it had
I
quite
so wanted to go.
but they had
Wow.
a ginormous D hanging from the ceiling, and I think
I'm surprised they allowed children to go near it.
well, it was Vegas, so they really shouldn't. It's next to a club. It was
Except
a
for
whole
when
thing.
it salsa separates.
The Enterprise D,
yeah.
and
Thank
I
you.
think they had a smaller Connie and I think Voyager, but it was
Nice.
bigger than the shooting model. But it was just like seeing it.
Oh wow.
It was so huge. It's like that's a big D, you know. But I like you couldn't put it anywhere. Like if you bought it or you had it, because they closed that exhibit, whatever, and like all the stuff from it, including the bridge, because they had a complete recreation of the Enterprise D bridge. All of that just went like into the back alley, where people just picked it up or took it to storage, or it got destroyed. There's a documentary out there about it. Somebody got the model of the Enterprise, but it was like too big to ship, too big to put in their garage.
That's the point
whatever.
at which you convert it into a waterbed. Tell me you wouldn't want that. Tell me you wouldn't want that.
Chad is
Rick Van
asking,
Houten's
is Citation Ops on this
Can't see it on this layer, but there may be another one. But I'm just looking here with the shuttle bay. You've got the big daddy shuttles and the smaller child shuttles nearby.
Yeah, no, you got the little shitty Type 1 shuttlecraft.
Don't talk to me or my shuttle ever again.
Well, like you got a layout of the captain's yacht, which you never saw. Like it's there. Even a little turbo lift going down to it. Look at that little cute little turbo lift. Captain's turbo lift. I love cutaways. And even look,
I love how they call it a
Code of
yacht
Honor.
too.
There it is, in the Star Trek fact files.
Call it the captain's schooner. Yeah, that's Code of Honor.
Oh yeah.
Aikido Vanish.
Okay, and astrometrics. Yeah. You see other files here, but there's even look at this. Look at this. A proper cutaway of engineering. I love this. I love any isometric kind of layouts. These are awesome.
What is that second tube?
What, that one?
Exhaust.
That's funny. Yeah. It doesn't actually say on here.
What a bad cutaway.
It's to explode so Geordi can roll and say, warp core breach, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Which he
Couldn't
did
possibly,
frequently.
It's the marshmallow
that response.
extruder.
Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, you don't often see that, do you? It's usually behind the big blowing thing. I like
Well,
the
as
little office
often as
round
he
here.
ejected the core, you actually did see it quite a bit.
Did they? No, they never ejected the core in TNG, did they?
No.
No.
In fact, famously, they couldn't ever eject it. It never fucking worked. The ejection system never worked.
That's why Geordi is the best engineer in Starfleet.
Yeah, I know, right?
All
Never
hands
ejected the core
abandon
once.
ship. Repeat, all hands abandon.
You know what? That's up there with like baby shoes never worn, warp core never ejected.
Apparently they did do an insurrection in 09. Well, 09 doesn't count, but I'm talking about the
Yeah,
D.
no, but guess what?
Pulling
They
it
never
like a
ejected the
zipper
Enterprise D.
across space.
Yeah, they never ejected the Enterprise D warp core.
Yeah, the
never
D ones.
once.
Voyager's was in and out all the time. Like, it was pretty much on a
Yeah,
on a
no,
swivel.
that thing was real loose.
They kept spares with spare torpedoes. It was easy.
Yeah.
Like
You
that
know
one
what they should have done, just to like show the scale? They should have had Enterprise J, and then like the Enterprise D fits in the shuttlecraft bay and just like flies out.
My starship can hold other starships.
That's
Yeah.
that's
And
the
not to mention-
captain's yacht.
They didn't eject the warp core in 09. They ejected a brewery. Get it right.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, okay.
And then you get a proper little cutaway where main engineers look tech plans. Sorry, we get very
Where's
excited.
Sonia Gomez on this?
She's in.
That's the hot chocolate
there.
little stain there.
She's just in there, yeah. In that little room there. See, this is where the sensor monitoring suites are. The lifeboat.
That actually is really cool.
It is, isn't
Yeah.
it?
That's
Maximum
genuinely actually
zoom.
cool.
Yeah.
Hey, are those the arboretums? Like the big circular things?
These, I don't think it says actually.
That's Mott's
doesn't say-
barbershop.
Oh, either it's the arboretum or it's the computer core. Because
I
that
think it
looks
might
kind
be
of like the one from
computer
Evolution.
core, yeah. I think the arboretums are on the saucer section, aren't they?
Maybe.
We'll find out.
I
when we get to
assume
that.
the Enterprise D had like 16 arboretums because it seems on brand for the Enterprise D.
It is a big ship. Like, it's absolutely massive. Like, you see deck plans like this, you're like, holy shit, actually, this is... There's so much here. They're like random lounges and quarters.
How did they fit only 1,000? They probably could have fit like 10,000 in.
Oh, because
Absolutely.
doesn't Tasha mention that it could hold like up to 25,000 troops in yesterday's Enterprise?
Yeah.
So I assume it has a similar capacity.
She was just trying to impress, what's his name?
Lutan.
Shooter McGavin. Yeah.
right.
She's like, this ship is about this long, this
This thick, yeah, there you go. You even see little pipes going into the warp core. But...
I like the idea of them just being pipes, like little lead pipes. It's just like, pipe the steaming
Hot
hot
stuff
plasma
coming
and
through.
dilithium.
Someone leads to get to. Oh, that's hot. That's hot. Yes, we've just been at warp. It needs to cool down.
Okay, so in the episode Disaster, when Crusher and LaForge are stuck in the cargo bay,
Yes.
the wall panel's about to explode with superheated plasma, and
Yeah.
Beverly goes, Shorty, this wall is hot. And he looks over with the super sophisticated visor, which can see temporal readings or thermal readings. He goes, "Where?" And then it fucking explodes in their face. It's like, bro, can't you see through the wall? What is going on?
No, you know what the problem was? The problem was he has like 15 different settings on the visor he has to cycle through. He has to go to like X-ray. It's like exactly infrared, and then he has to go like there's like a TV setting where he can tune in. There's like RFM, like it's like, oh, this is where I can get my stories. This is my, it's like Google Glass as well, so you can look at his calendar.
So he was listening to audiobooks instead of watching the plasma.
Johnny, are you watching porn again? No.
Why the Enterprise was always headed to a space dock for something is because the ship was broken. Because he was a shit engineer, but nobody ever called him on it because they didn't know better. Because they're like, oh, he looks busy and important. I don't know.
Remember the clipboard, yeah.
They're like, we can't blame the black guy. There's only 3 of them in Starfleet. What are we gonna do?
Jesus Christ. Anyway, moving on. How about a Klingon bird of prey?
I like a Klingon
Look at
bird
this.
of prey.
What is this shot? Why pick this shot? What? I don't want
Look at her man spreading. Just like,
They all look like something's going on there that shouldn't be.
Oh, that's from Generation when they're getting shot, I believe.
Yeah.
Could they have not been sitting normally?
Why would you pick that in motion shot? Yeah, it's weird.
The evil and scheming Duras sisters.
Hang on, go to that scale picture.
That one? What, down the bottom?
Yeah.
That's not right.
Bullshit! Bullshit! I refuse to believe they are
no,
that
that's not right.
size.
So there was a bit of controversy in this on TNG because they scaled them wrong a lot. Then they said, no, there's 2 classes. There's the Burrell class and there's the Cavort class in a kind of like hand wavy. So I think they kind of went, yes, we just made the same ship, but 10 times bigger, because why the fuck not? But no, I think that's
So
generally
dumb.
like
That's
fucker.
one of the dumbest Star Trek things I've ever heard to excuse the reuse of a model.
Yeah.
That was the same ship that was on Vulcan in Star Trek 3.
Yeah, exactly.
In Star Trek 4 that they classified as the
That was on
Bounty.
scale with the Constitution class, which is like a third of the size.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But no, that doesn't work out, does it?
They just put it through Wonka vision and made it bigger.
But you do get a nice little layout as well. Nice little bit of cruise.
That's cool.
That is pretty cool. I'll zoom
Cruise control.
Cruise
I wonder what their
control.
cetacean ops looks like.
It's probably a sushi bar.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably live eels.
Yeah.
That
Just the barrel.
Yeah,
of
that's what
gunk.
Gark basically is, yeah.
Oh, what we got? And then you get the index, which basically you then assemble all the time. And you get like a proper A to Z of everything. Your own Acamarians. Remember them?
Isn't that neat?
Akalan, an artist.
That's the second Acamarian reference in the stream,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Adam. Dr. Tristram Adams.
Oh, there's Adam.
Aunt
Man
Adele.
of the nipples.
I don't remember Aunt Adele
Aunt Adele.
from Cause Effect.
Yeah,
Oh,
her cure
yeah.
for the common cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not his mother, not his grandmother? Was it? Who was it that showed up and when no one has gone before? Was it his mother?
That's his mother, yeah. Or the, well, Picard Season 2 kind of
Yvette?
retcons that a bit to say, like, his imagined version of his mother. But yeah.
Weird.
But there we go.
But she didn't hang around long.
Oh my god. That's the Star Trek fact. That's issue 1 of the Star Trek fact files. Maybe we'll revisit and go to issue 2 some other time. Maybe
249 to go.
Yeah. Maybe we'll.
And
I
you
just
were
thought that
worried
was,
we were
I
gonna
thought
run
that
out
was
of
interesting
material.
to look at, just to kind of go through and sort of see something. I love the deck plans and all like the different things and how they
yeah.
they even go through the the one where Worf is put on court martial for his maneuvers in DS9 for when he gets the civilian ships
Oh,
killed.
rules of engagement.
Rules
yeah.
of engagement. They actually have the battle plan and how it all played out and like neat little diagrams. Like people who love Trek worked on this, well, apart from the people that picked the photos. But yeah, they loved this and it was really good. It was such a thrill to be like that age and getting into Star Trek, and it was great. But yeah,
By the way,
go on.
The prosecutor in that episode, his actor is Ron Canada.
Wrong.
You have to bring that up every time it comes up.
Yeah. So, Cold, I'm interested to see where you got your versions from, because there's 2 I found. There's one from archive.org. They have ones that are available issue by issue, but they're missing all like the deck plans and some of the cool stuff for some reason. And then there's another one which has all of them in order, but I'm thinking I might put on the sub channel the issues that I've built which have them like issue by issue, so you can collect them as we talk about them. So I'll put issue 1 up for the subs, our Twitch subs, fairly soon. Probably after the show, I'll stick it up there for you to read. So
Now, there was a question earlier on the show, Idol, that you said you wanted to wait until everyone was around for.
Oh, what was the question?
Ranking all of the new Trek seasons.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen most of them, actually, so I couldn't help you out there.
I haven't seen 2 of them. I haven't seen Picard Season 2, and I haven't seen Disco
well.
Season 4.
I've seen them all, and I can't pick. I mean, I couldn't pick between like my favorite
seen them
Lower
all.
Decks. I've seen it all.
I've seen everything.
Oh, and I don't know. Like, Lower Decks is pretty much all the seasons are great. Prodigy has only got one season. I think we need more time on this one. I think the only thing you can really rank is like Discovery at this point, and maybe Picard a little bit, but that needs to finish. I feel like that's a conversation we need to have in like 3 years' time. Maybe.
I'd already put Strange New Worlds is like
that's top.
out of frame up top for me. Because how I won't speak for you guys because I know you love Discovery, but for curmudgeonly old people like me who are like, oh, I want more old Trek, I want classic Trek, I want episodic. After Discovery, Lower Decks, Picard, it's like we were a little trepidatious. I'll speak for my people, a little trepidatious when they said, "Oh yeah, this is gonna scratch that itch. Don't worry, Strange New Worlds will be just like you remember." I'm like, I don't believe you. Then it came out and it was exactly what I wanted, and like every episode was like, "Oh, you guys did great." So
it was really good. And I think everyone was a bit wary of Lower Decks as well. Like, you're going to do an animated Star Trek by the
They
makers
did
of Rick
do a
and
great
Morty?
job of selling it right out the gate, because like it was like episode 1 was very you don't get a great impression of Mariner straight out of the gate.
No. But
It
yeah,
takes a little while to warm up.
that definitely...
Which
really
was
start to fall in love with it.
the big problem with Discovery.
Stream Deck.
Oh, gosh, no, I haven't got that button anymore. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
What
you
do we
don't.
even employ you for?
This is what I got the subs for. Subs need to trigger it. Here it is. Hang on, here we go.
Professionalism.
You can trigger it. This is why I set this whole system up. You can trigger it. You just got to put your little command in the chat.
No, we'll just hassle you to do it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well...
He was an idiot.
Klingons never do anything small, do you?
That was a perfect double team. So I think most of us would probably put Strange New Worlds season 1 on top. What would you say so far has been the worst? Or maybe least best would be more.
Probably Picard season 2. Maybe season 1 as well. I hate to say it, but that's probably the worst one so far. Frank?
How do you judge the worst? Because okay.
What sparks the least joy? What do you rewatch the
Oh
least?
boy. Well, this is all of the above. Look at the legacy. So Picard season 1 led to seizures and like blackout drunkenness, which led to season 2, which led to even worse, which has led to season 3, which so far tentative. Okay. But it had some moments where it's like, hey, here's your beloved captain from when most of you enjoyed Star Trek. Let's see what he's doing. Oh my God. And then it was okay. Enough of that. Here's your beloved captain again. Let's see what he's going to do 400 years in the past. And it's, oh my God. But Discovery, again, like I alluded to earlier, Discovery started with the formula of here's Star Trek, but out of the bubble of everyone else, which I want. And the very first thing you see and you get from the Star Trek is, hey, this person's a mutinous piece of shit and started the entire war. And hey, here's like all this other. It's it wasn't Star Trekky kind of to me, but I understand we had to get there. I took a lot of issue with early Discovery, still do. And
I think season 2 is a lot stronger than season 1 overall. So I think especially season 1 especially fumbles at the end with the sudden decision to end the Klingon war for kind of no real reason. It's a very slapdash solution to the problem.
I put bombs in your entire planet. Now you work for me.
Realistically speaking, you know what should have happened? Michael should have just had to wrestle the entire Klingon chamber of representatives and beat them into submission, and that would have been a perfect way to establish dominance.
And Disco had brilliant moments like Lorca, Jason Isaacs, absolutely brilliant, like all day long.
Mm.
Michelle Yeoh, love her. She does great. A lot of the actors and actresses were just absolutely brilliant in their role. The problem is it seemed like it was being written and ran by somebody that had never watched Star Trek and said, hey, let's make a Star Trek TV show and let's have Spock's sister as the main character. And nobody in the room said, well, actually, Spock doesn't have a sister. And they just kind of went with it. And at the end of it, they said, shit, it turns out this like stuff's been around for 40, 50 years and none of the stuff that we wrote ever happened. So let's just send them in the future and pretend they don't exist.
Dude,
That'll-
he's even tougher on Discovery than I am, right?
That being said, my answer for the worst would be Picard season 1.
Poll up in chat, folks. We're just overall series because there ain't enough poll options to go by season. What is your favorite new track? And you guys might want to go vote Discovery.
So here's the thing. I have to say, I actually really like Discovery, but I would say that of this hierarchy, I probably like it Strange New Worlds, Prodigy, Discovery, Lower Decks, Picard. Now, that being said, I don't, those top 4, there's not much of a difference between them in terms of how much I rank them. It's like, 0.001% off of another. I think I like them all very different. They're all very different flavors. Picard is the only one that I'd say is, like, at most times an actual failure.
Yeah, I'd agree with most of that. I think Strange New Worlds at the top, definitely. I'd go 50-50 for Lower Decks and Prodigy. I think they do two very different things very well. Especially like Prodigy was the real surprise. Like I was like, oh wow, I didn't expect it to be actually this good. I'm like, it's like
I'm seriously invested in Prodigy.
Someone explained to me the other day and said like people are calling it a kid show. It's like it's not. It's a family show. It's designed like for everyone to watch, but
there's a lot of depth there.
Yeah, and there's more depth than people realize, and it's by the end of it, you're just like, this is a Star Trek show. Like this is it's the Federation and everything. Like there we go, it's there.
It's not a war-heavy arc.
Not at the
when
start.
we watched the animated series pilot for our Trek review, we grappled with a kid show aspect of it, and then they gave us like the chewiest dialogue you've ever heard.
Yeah,
and it like surpassed anything TNG ever did. I mean, moral dilemmas are, but they were giving you exposition on exposition, and in between the zany sound effects, and it was kind of a hodgepodge of things that you expected and didn't expect.
Yeah, so I think there's a really interesting conversation going on in the chat there, where it's like Walt says that he wants the lost era of Enterprise B, the Romulan incidents, like your Tomed, whatever, and then Kyra says no, I want a completely different character. I don't want any legacy stuff. I don't want
what I was saying,
rehashing. It's like these are the two extremes. Like there are the people who want the exploration of the existing world and see how that pans out when you've got a proper budget and the ability to do what you want. And then there are people who are like, can we just do something? They want a TNG for the new, and they don't want TNG, they want a TNG, as in a new generation.
Yeah, I think there's
Prodigy is half of that, but it's not quite that.
I think there's a beauty in like what they're doing now is they're kind of doing a Star Trek for everyone. Like they're doing it for the kids, they're doing it for people like serialized stuff, they're doing stuff in like people like episodic. I think there is an avenue for sort of someone saying like, I want to do a 2-part miniseries about Tomed, about the Enterprise B, and maybe grab it. Obviously you'd have to recast in that situation, but and then say right, and here's another miniseries or another series with completely new people, and we can sort of test some feels and do that. There is absolutely the market there to sort of try different things, and I like that we're in that situation now rather than like what Discovery had to bank on the say right, it's before Kirk and Spock and she's Kirk, so they had to have those links in there to kind of make people familiar, and I can see why they did, and maybe like you said, Frank fumbled it a little bit, but yeah. And then start another spin-off with Strange New Worlds that was just like, oh yeah, this is what they wanted. I like the phrase that Akiva Goldsman just made, and he said, like, we were sitting in a meeting one day and we said, what if we actually make some Star Trek? That was the exact words they used. I'm like, well, yeah, come on, what have you been doing?
What if we tried?
What if we actually did some Star Trek?
I don't know. I think that's a bit unkind to Discovery. I think the Discovery was trying very much to be... It was trying to be something different, and also it was also trying to split the difference and also be something classic.
I can
They
appreciate it
wanted
now.
to have the links.
Yeah,
to
I
the
appreciate
classic
it
thing
now
while
more
actually
being its
producing
own
new, but-
thing. Like you watch it at the time, you saw a lot of people had very high expectations for what they want the Star Trek to be. Now they've kind of got Star Trek to be with Stranger Worlds, and they've kind of everyone's got their own little bit. You can then go back to Discovery and go, hey, actually, this is its own thing. It can be what it wants to be, and it's great for that. Great for that.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with Discovery, at least in its beginning, was that it felt this need to deconstruct Star Trek and Starfleet and then reconstruct it. And that's an understandable approach when you've been off the air for 12 years and people question whether or not your franchise even has any relevance. Like they did it with Bond, for example. Like Casino Royale is a complete deconstruction and reconstruction. Because the value of a good deconstruction is you examine the constituent parts of your media property or your thesis, and you go, what is the value here? What endures? What needs to be cut? What needs to be maintained? And then you reconstruct it based around those principles. But Discovery kind of fumbled that for a number of reasons. Like Brian Fuller left halfway through the thing because he constantly leaves projects half unfinished. And then there were the abusive showrunners, and it's like it only really feels like they kind of got into an even keel with season 2, and then season 3 and 4 feel like a way more cohesive narrative. But I also have to say that it's not the first time that Star Trek has fumbled its TV debut right out of the gate, considering the fact that TNG Season 1 is a trash fire and is in some ways worse than Discovery Season 1 because of how confused and how ridiculous it can be. Like, yeah, maybe Michael Burnham was kind of an asshole at the beginning of Season 1 Discovery. I think that's something to be debated, depending on what you feel on her moral stance and how justified she was and wasn't. But she certainly wasn't about to leave Wesley Crusher to die because he fell into a bed of flowers. She never endangered the ship over getting space drunk and horny like, a certain child did. I mean, season 3, she got drugged, which was hilarious, but it's like that's embarrassing. Like that's embarrassing for the franchise, like that kind of stuff. Like, hey, how much lasting damage does it do to Worf's character when the Enterprise D gets taken over by like a boatload of Ferengi on stolen Klingon warbirds? Like, that's lasting damage to the character. I feel like at least like Discovery, yeah, you have a lot of fumbles, but nothing that really damaged the franchise. I feel like.
There's a reason.
The franchise is stronger now than it's ever been, really.
So we had those 5 poll choices of the 5 new Trek shows talking about, doing something bold, and pretty much all of them still have pretty strong ties to old Trek, Discovery Season 3 and on, notwithstanding. So I know I'm not the first or 50th person to submit this, but what about a new show, Star Trek Relativity, where you're already in the future. You can have a whole new cast of characters, and then you can tune that nostalgia dial just how you want, because the whole premise is going through time, fixing. You can hit that nostalgia button, not just with past Trek, but going to visit, important points in history, and you still have all the future tech at your disposal, but you can go back to the nostalgia. So I think that would be a great concept, and would kind of, hopefully, if they balance it right, satisfy both parties.
I think you could do that, but you'd probably, especially because that was the original intention for Discovery, was that it would be an anthology, which is kind of how the format for this show would end up working. You'd probably have to pare it down to like maybe 5 episodes a season, and each one would have to be a specific point in time. Maybe like make them an hour and a half, like TV specials type thing, just to make up for that. But you spend a lot more time on it. But I feel like there's like
I want my 29 episode seasons. Don't you dare shorten it.
You ain't getting that. You ain't ever getting that ever again.
No,
sorry, it's not happening.
Hey, look, it's my headcanon. I can add as many episodes.
Fair
as I
enough.
want.
You write it, cast it, pay
right,
for it.
Right after
produce
my
it.
Choose Your Own Adventure Star Trek books.
Actually, I think Choose Your Own
writing.
Adventure Star Trek's a great idea. Well, that's kind of going to be what like the Star Trek Resurgence game is kind of going to be a little bit, but maybe not quite in detail.
Yeah.
But no, I have a couple of those Peter Jackson books, the Warlock on Far Top Mountain. Is that your Choose Your Own Adventure book, and they're great. They're great fun. I do have one that's almost a little bit Star Trek-like. I think it's meant to be an analog of it. I forget the name of it now. But you make a crew at a spaceship, and you give them all stats, and then you have to send them out and do missions with them. And I find what that's called. Peter Jackson, what they call fighting fantasy.
Steve Jackson says Walt.
Peter Jackson. Oh, Steve Jackson. Sorry, you're quite right. Who's Pete? Oh no, Peter Jackson did Lord of the Rings.
I don't believe there's any news on Resurgence. Let me check and see.
He's a small
601.
director.
So, Fighting Fantasy, Steve. List of Fighting Fantasy game
I
books.
think
Yeah,
Resurgence is on hold until they improve the Spock imitation.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
pretty. Starship
It
Traveler.
has been
that's the one I
delayed
had.
until April
this.
of this year. So it should be coming out in about two months or so.
And
if
we
they
will
keep
be
that
playing.
release date.
We will be
And there
playing.
is a prequel comic book that you can buy right
Yeah.
now if you are so interested.
I need to read that.
It releases the same day 9.2 for Star Trek Timelines does.
Oh, I wonder which one I'll be doing.
Yeah, we will be playing that. I think I want to play that with you guys online. Like, I think we'll do
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
game we're in the middle
absolutely.
of.
Yeah.
We'll do that. That'd be good fun because it's going to
Yeah,
be like,
Auto can do his dub of the Spock impression.
do your best auto. Do your best auto stars. No, do your best Spock auto.
Everyone's
Shut up,
watching to see what you will do. There, I just did my best auto. No, there's no multiplayer component to that, is there?
No.
It's just
No, but I think we can kind of do it as a choose your own adventure. We'll stream
we're
it.
gonna have to we're gonna butt heads over which course. We're gonna have to rock paper scissors to decide.
That's cool.
That's
I'd be
a
happy
good
with
idea.
that.
That's a great idea.
I can be the angel on your shoulder, and Auto can be the devil, and he'll
Oh,
be like,
please.
yeah, kill them all, face them.
Nice.
Perfect.
Well,
But guess what? I'm just hopeful that we can get some more Star Trek games after this, because I don't know how well the Prodigy game sold. If Resurgence sells well, hopefully they get the message. We want more Star Trek games. I would love to play a Star Trek multiplayer game that is like more in tune with, say, like Legacy than Star Trek Online, because Star Trek Online is not really what I want.
I'm
Doesn't
enjoying
quite
the
scratch
story
the
of
itch
Star
in a
Trek
way.
Online, if not the
Yeah.
mechanics.
We
Well,
could
this is
start
that's not what's
Friendly
mechanically
Realm
satisfying.
Games and pick up all the recently laid off devs. There's half a game right
Friendly Realm Games.
Friendly Realm.
Well,
Decidedly saintly realm.
it's getting
And the
better.
job interview, the one job interview question is, you're stranded on an island with a DVD player, and you can only have, for the rest of your life, one thing to watch.
Oh my
TNG
gosh.
series, season 1, Discovery season 1, or Picard season 1. Which one do you pick?
I think it's
there.
Discovery.
Rocky 3 with French audio.
I don't know. I think that's Discovery for me, but then TNG would be a close pick because I could.
See, you're not hired.
Sorry.
No. What is the correct answer?
Get the fuck off the island and make my game. Watch TV. I don't pay you to watch TV.
The answer here is I reprogrammed the DVD player and I changed the parameters of the test so that I can win.
I made a
Project
makeshift boat
manager
out of the
Frank Frankington.
Yeah. Well, Frank, I'm not working for you anytime soon. What do you
That's
make?
all right. The company's bankrupt.
Oh, okay.
couldn't pay
I
you.
still want the lower decks fighting game, like the side-scrolling. beat
I'd
'em
love a
up.
brawl. Yeah, a
like
brawler, Double Dragon.
Double Dragon. Yeah, that's it. Or the Teenage
Yeah,
Mutant
I'd love
Ninja Turtles
that.
game. That'd be great. You pick a
The
different
question
character.
is, how many shots does the phaser weapon grant? Because it can't have infinite. That's broken. So is it like three
Yeah,
shots?
like a
for the
special and
phaser?
then it recharges or something.
I can see that. Yeah, like he has a little bot. Yeah, no, you build it up with meter, so you have to like beat people up with
No,
thing,
the-
and then you can get your phaser shot, and it's like a finisher.
The lower decks
You
thing would all
vaporize
be
them.
holodeck episodes. They'd all be on they'd be in the Victorian, so they'd be on dressed up for Victorian stuff, or then they go to the Klingon homeworld. They'd all have batleths. That'd be very fun.
Fairhaven side
Dude,
scroller.
there's that moment. I don't know, Frank. I imagine you've seen Prodigy, but Auto. There's a moment where like hologram Janeway is showing off the holodeck to the main characters in Prodigy, and they show. She's like, "Oh, you can go and visit the moons of Andoria, or you can spend the night in Dracula's castle." And I was like, the instant I heard that, I was like, "Why the fuck have I not gotten a Dracula crossover in Star Trek yet? Why have we only gotten stupid, horny Harry Kim sex vampires? Give me actual. What is the Star Trek version of Dracula? I want to see what Dracula was in Star Trek, because you know he was an alien.
The Lower Decks comic did exactly that. They went to Dracula, but the problem was they made Dracula like Moriarty, and he broke out of the holodeck.
Perfect. That's exactly what I want.
Go read the Lower
I'd
Decks
play that
comic; it's
game.
really good.
Sponsored by Count Chocula.
Yes.
You know what I'd want? I would actually want one of those stupid like puzzle games, where it's like you have to take the honeycomb from this and that, and then combine there's ridiculous LucasArts style puzzle games from the early 90s, like Curse of Monkey Island and stuff like that. But at Star Trek, they had to come up with ridiculous things like get the hair pasta from mess hall and get like the Heisenberg compensator and wrap it around each other to make a bomb to defeat the Ferengi. I want ridiculously stupid moon logic puzzles. I want that.
Day of the Tentacle, but it's
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I'd love that.
Lower deck style.
You could do a Half-Life 2 skin where instead of the gravity gun, it's just Wesley Crusher's handheld tractor beam.
I'm the captain now.
Dude, to be fair, when he first breaks into the intercom, he's like, "Attention, Starship." Or what is he? Picard introduces me, goes, "Thank you, Captain Picard." And with that dawns a brave new day for the Enterprise. I just about die laughing every time. That is so good.
Asshole.
I feel like I rated that too poorly. I might have to rewatch it and rate it again.
That prick.
Well, I think it's time we wrap this up because we've been going on.
Let's just do an impromptu Trek.
Okay.
Someone pull up a good episode.
They're
a good episode. There's none of those left.
No, I mean one that's so bad that it's good.
We've watched Code of Honor already. Come on, we can't. we
did Threshold too.
We will be back very soon. We'll actually be back this weekend. Will we be back this weekend? No, we won't actually, because we were supposed to do I need to look at my calendar. I'm so terrible. Hey, thank you for the mariachi. No, we are not back this weekend. We are, in fact, back next week. One day the person that wrote that song is going to find us, hunt us, and demand a lot of money. We will be back next week for our possibly final episode of Hidden Evil, if I'm correct. I think we're about two-thirds of the way through. Maybe.
Oh, you're being very, very optimistic. There's another 20 hours of gameplay easy.
Yeah, okay. I feel like we're approaching sort of finale territory with that one. But yes, we'll be continuing our Insurrection 2 Baku Boogaloo, the sequel to Star Trek Insurrection that no one wanted, in form of a video game that you guys like so much, in Star Trek Hidden Evil. And then the Saturday after that will be the return of pros and cons with Mr. Stars here and Shire Porn debating the sentience of one mobile doctor. You'll be arguing furiously over that one. But as always, do
you have to dress up in like bathrobes or smoking jackets like he does?
I think that'd be a good idea.
I think I have a pipe around here somewhere.
I need to find it. Yeah, I do need to buy the Q outfit. Once I get some money, I'm going to do that and find a green screen because I've got to do it now. It has to be done.
I know. I think the visuals of you drinking the coffee through the obvious, like, it's like those standees you get at like carnivals where you can put your head through. It's perfect.
Honey, the children need their vaccinations and we're out of milk and bread. Yes, but have you seen this Q costume that I just ordered from Etsy?
I will already be sitting in the kitchen with it, just like, I have spent my money wisely. This is an equitable
Dude, you're basically Peter Griffin, you know that?
I wish. That man's loaded. Quick, to the idol copter. And yes, so if you haven't watched the first Pros and Cons with Skycap and Jedos, where they debate whether Janeway or Tuvix were right in absolving his need to live, please go watch that. It's very funny. It's very worth watching. But yes, we'll be doing the next one on that on Saturday 11th. And we have, as I said at the start of the show, April 23rd, Sunday, April the 23rd, we'll be having our charity show. Sunday. Please come along. We're going to have I'm going to be revealing details of stuff soon about what's actually going to be happening, but if you want to help us pick
actual Star Trek people will be there, not just us.
Star Trek people, yes. We are choosing our charity, so please come on over to our Discord, bit.ly/Trek_time, and you can come and vote on which charity you want us to support. The current contestants are, as I said at the start, the Rainforest Foundation, Elton John's AIDS Foundation, the International Rescue Committee, the Trevor Project, and the St. Baldrick's Foundation. So please, the votes are honestly, the votes are quite tight. This is quite a hard one to pick, but please come and choose your vote, or choose multiple ones if you can't decide. We will decide, I think, about 2 weeks. I'll let you know when the deadline's going to be nearer the time. but please come and vote on that one, because we're going to have an exciting line. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stars is doing STA. We'll have another pros and cons. We'll do some what the dub. We got loads.
If you vote for the wrong one, all the Star Trek people are pulling out. So make sure you vote for the correct charity.
Yeah, we've got some exciting news. We'll have giveaways. We'll have all sorts of things. Shai's going to do some table readings. This is going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. And yeah, there'll be guests. Gentlemen, any final words before we wrap up this week? I'm very aware we've actually got Auto and Stars on the same stream, so I kind of don't want it to end, because this is such a rare occasion.
I don't want it to end.
I want you to lullaby. I want you to lull me to sleep.
Hit the live button. We'll banter for a bit and then put it up on YouTube and charge $4.99 for a subscription.
That's what we're doing anyway. Yeah, I love the fact files anyway. Like and subscribe, folks. But more important, live long and prosper.
Smash that like button.
See you later. Ta-ra! Take me out, Kate Columbo.
The handle's Kate Columbo. That's a big 10-4.